Hello and welcome along to live coverage of Surrey against Hampshire in the 2020 Vitality Blast here at the Kia Oval. My name's David Garrido, alongside me the Surrey and England fast bowler Liam Plunkett. Very much looking forward to this one. It's Surrey's fourth game in the South Group and looking forward to hopefully a positive result. Admittedly, the skies above us are a little bit overcast. We have had a little bit of rain here in South London, but we are on course to start the game on time, so we will see how we fare with the weather. But Liam, first of all, great to see you, and also great to have some fans back in the ground. 2,500 Surrey members will be allowed in for this one. Obviously it's nothing near a full capacity which you're used to playing with here, but at least it's a step in the right direction, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's obviously no one's watched any cricket. It's been good to watch international cricket and now the T20 Blast on TV, but to get fans in to watch some live cricket, I think people have been gagging for that all summer. So it's good to see them there. Hopefully we get them cricket tonight. As you said, hopefully it clears up and we get a good game.
Obviously you're one of a number of players with Surrey at the moment. That sort of treatment room is pretty full, isn't it? 9 players injured, a few away with England at the moment as well. But to give us a little progress update on your hamstring injury and how it's going in terms of the recovery.
It was going really well, and then I came back, did a running session, just tweaked it a little bit, but I'm hoping to be back maybe for the last 4 games. Hopefully the guys go well and I can be a part of a winning team going forward and we can make them playoffs. So I'm not sure how the format is of hopefully make some finals and win a trophy.
Yeah, we'll be returning to a competitive dressing room because of course there have been a few arrivals at Surrey in the last couple of weeks. And let's talk about a man who's actually had an immediate impact on his return to Surrey. He was here in 2013 and 2014 and playing against Kent a couple of days ago. He scored 75 for Surrey and it's great to have him back. The only South African triple centurion in Test cricket, and he did it at this very ground, the Kia Oval. We caught up with Hashim Amla a little while ago. Hashim, welcome back. Welcome back to Surrey. And obviously in these very strange times, you've had to spend 2 weeks at your base here in London. How's that gone for you?
Yeah, thank you. It's lovely to be back. Familiar faces, and obviously playing at the Oval is always wonderful. The 2 weeks, you got to get through it, do a bit of reading and just catching up as much as you can with the family back home, because you do miss the family. But yeah, 2 weeks is a stretch, and thankfully I got through it.
What about physical preparation? What can you meaningfully do when you are essentially in one building?
Yeah, I think you got to use that 2 weeks to kind of stretch a bit. You can do your push-ups and sit-ups. In terms of cardio, skipping is the best option. It doesn't need too much of space, but still it's not ideal.
YouTube videos?
Yeah, you watch a few about this and that, and a few documentaries here and there, but still it's not easy to keep physically in check. After the last game, I can feel a stiffness, like I haven't done too much of running over 2 weeks.
You're back after, was it now 6 years away? I think 2014 was your last year here. What have you seen change? What's different here?
Yeah, Stewie looks the same, and actually the ground is looking great as always. Some familiar faces like Batsy, Jade Dernback, and then some new guys, a lot of youngsters, which is great. And one thing that you do enjoy is when you come here, you kind of mingle with the younger guys, and it takes a day or two to kind of know everybody, but it's always enjoyable.
Are there any specific memories from your 2 seasons here before that really still are ingrained in the memory for you, Hashim?
Yeah, we just had a good team environment. That was something that really stuck out. I stayed close by as well, so getting in and out of London was pretty comfortable. Sometimes it gets difficult with the traffic, but fortunately at that stage it was easy.
That hasn't changed.
Yeah, it hasn't changed. The trains are a little bit more quiet, obviously, with the situation, but the team environment was very good, and obviously that's something that's really important to have.
And of course, when you talk about this ground and the Kia Oval, you've got to talk about 2012, right? And
yeah, some good memories.
Triple century.
Yeah, I had some good memories a few years back. It's certainly one of the best grounds to play at. Lord's is up there. The Oval has a different feel. It's a lot more open, and it's always in immaculate condition. And the wicket's generally very good, so it's just a lovely place to play at.
But obviously, you'd love to play here with 25,000 in. This time 2,500 instead, because we're making steps back towards the return of fans to grounds. It is a significant step to have some support in, but what's it like as a batsman when you're playing in a venue which is 90% empty, because it has to be right now?
Yeah, it's different. I've been involved in some games where there's no fans, like behind closed doors, and it does have a very somber feel to it initially until you start going into the game, and obviously the intensity of needing to win the match. But kudos to the guys who are trying to get crowds back in. 2,500 was a great start, and I'm sure people have been waiting for those tickets to be on sale. So it's a great start, and it's a unconventional kind of situation we're in, and whatever small steps towards opening things up as best as possible within the guidelines and all that type of things, you've got to do it.
Since your international retirement, you're doing some batting consultancy. You've been working out the PSL and in South Africa as well. What's that been like for you? Because obviously for those who are getting the benefits of your mentoring, let's say, obviously that's brilliant for them. But does it also help you keep abreast of the game and how it's developing?
Yeah, certainly. The other fortunate thing is I carried my kit bag wherever I went, so I managed to get my nets in and my training too. And I actually felt it's really helpful when you are speaking to somebody about batting, that you can almost practically demonstrate it because I'm still in the game. And that's one of the aspects that I really enjoyed, because when you're talking about reflex work, you can actually put your pads on and join the guys in doing it. But mentoring was really enjoyable. I think growing up, we've all had mentors in different ways, and to kind of be part of somebody else's development, it's a nice feeling.
And then how was it first going back in Surrey colours, and you're already hitting a nice 75? It felt like it just kind of clicked back seamlessly. Really.
Yeah, flukes happen, So, it was nice to get some runs. Always nice to get runs. Certainly, you didn't have many nets before that. You had one or two kind of net sessions to try and after the quarantine to be familiar with the bat. So I was really glad to get some runs, and although the result didn't go great for us, but it was nice for Rory got batted really well too. So yeah, it was nice to get some runs.
And you've got some established fellow batsmen there, the likes of Rory Burns and Ben Foakes, etc. But you've also got someone like Will Jacks, who is now starting to show what he can do. Are you looking forward to that kind of relationship?
Yeah, definitely.
Someone who's got the world at his feet and his whole career really in front of him.
Certainly. I've had kind of similar experiences batting with guys like Quinton de Kock. When he first started, fantastic player. So you kind of see their development and you think, wow, what an amazing player he's turned out to be. And I'm sorry, around the county circuit, you've got the young players coming in with a great deal of talent. And batting with Jaxie would be great. He didn't get a lot of runs in the first game, but seeing him bat in the nets, he's got all the shots and he seems very accomplished. And hopefully, things click on for him and he continues to grow in his career.
It's great to have you back here at the Kia Oval. We wish you well for the remainder of this season.
Thank you.
Hashim Amla, after 6 years away, great to see him back in Surrey colours, and immediately, as we discussed, they're in good nick with that 75 against Kent, ultimately in a losing cause, but he and Rory Burns batted beautifully, and at least there are just a few pegs there that Surrey can hold on to in terms of the batting. Hashim Amla, what a class act he is, Lee. It's great to have him back at the club.
Yeah, we've seen him play in South Africa, international cricket, the T20 stuff, IPL. You know how good a player he is. To have that experience and the class in this team. He's been here before, and the guys love playing with him, so have him back and have that anchor role is massively important. I was lucky enough to play with him at the Dolphins in South Africa, so I met him there. He's a great guy and he gives a lot to the team, as well as his skills, but as a person he's great to talk to for younger batsmen, to give that calm head, to give them the confidence to go out there and play their own game.
And in terms of him as a mentor, because he's been doing some batting consultancy over in the PSL and also in South Africa, because we've got some young players that are coming through, partly because people like yourself have been injured, so you've got to help these guys coming through. What sort of figurehead is he for them?
So valuable to have someone who's played at the highest level, who's been one of the most successful guys in the last 10 years, to pass that knowledge on to the youngsters and even the guys in the late 20s, 30, to get that guy in the dressing room. I said just to show that calm level, to show it's not frantic. You go out there, do your job, back what you've been doing in practice. It's great to have.
So how do you assess the top order now with Surrey? Because you've got Will Jacks, Hashim Amla, but you've also got the likes of Ben Foakes. Laurie Evans has come in as well from Sussex. So you've got different types of batsmen there. It feels a little bit more balanced.
It does. To get Rory back, obviously been a club captain for the last few years. To have him back is massive. He's been away and it's such a high intensity environment. You bring that back with you. So when you're away with England, the training's so high and the matches are so intense, that rubs off on people here as well. So people always want to impress the England players when they come back. So him, as you said, Folksy, Hashim, Laurie Evans, it's a powerful lineup now.
Well, talk to me about Laurie Evans, because I mean, again, he came from Sussex. It was sort of originally on loan, and now we know that he's going to stay a little longer with Surrey. And he's a sort of player that can, I mean, he's got now plenty of franchise experience, right? He's been around playing in T20 tournaments. Has he got the X factor for you? Is he the sort of player that can take a game away from the opposition almost on his own?
I mean, I've played against him when he was at Warwickshire, and he took me apart. He took a few people apart, and franchise cricket, he shows a glimpse of how good he can be. Hopefully, he's going to get settled here. There's not too long left of this season, but spend some time here in the winter and the next few years. Hopefully, he can be one of the main in the role in the white ball, and I'm sure he wants to get amongst it in the red ball cricket and get hundreds and be a good figure for Surrey.
Yeah, certainly he's been telling us that he wants to get involved with red ball cricket. It's one of the things he wants to see develop his game a little bit in that direction. And by the way, guys, if you've got any comments on the stream, whether you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube, any of Surrey's social and digital channels at kiaoval.com as well, make sure you let us know. What do you think about the new recruits, the likes of Laurie Evans, and of course the return of Hashim Amla after 6 years away? Of course, he's as I mentioned, such a huge addition to this team with his sensible head, but his incredible batting skills as well, and that mentoring role that he will almost certainly play. Let's talk a little bit about the bowlers, shall we? And there's a man who's come in literally yesterday, signed the papers, came up the M4 or whatever from Somerset. Jamie Overton is part of this squad. What does he bring to the table then?
I think he brings raw pace. He's been around for a while now. He's not the new kid on the block. He's played around. He's been involved with the England systems, the junior stuff, the Lions. He's been in successful teams down at Somerset. As an older player now, as an older seamer, these young people, the young lads coming in, or the younger quicks, it makes you want to work harder myself. So it's always good to get challenged in that squad. It makes the team better. And as I said, the start of next year, you've got a young, uninjured team with all these stars coming back. Everyone's going to vie for the place, and that's what you want. That makes the club better, and hopefully the performance is better. Yeah, well, we spoke to Jamie a little bit earlier on. He was just getting a feel for the ground. Of course, he's played here before, but this is the first time that he's had it as his own home ground. We caught up with him a little earlier on. Here he is. Jamie, it's all happened very quickly. Contract signed, get down, I don't know which route you took, A303 or M4 or however you came from Somerset, and now you're here at the Oval. Tell us about it.
Yeah, very quickly. Sort of yesterday decided that it was just time to sort of move on from Somerset and come and join us up here. Obviously very thrilled to be here, but yeah, very excited to get going.
Is it strange? Is it surreal, especially given the current situation?
Not really. I think it's just an exciting opportunity. I sort of saw it as like I've got a good month where I can come and join with be around the lads, almost meet them before next year. So this is an opportunity that I can use it as it's only a positive thing. I can't see it as a negative thing. Otherwise I wouldn't be here. So yeah, it's obviously very, very positive to be here. You
knew it was in the pipeline anyway. You come earlier than expected, and of course then you've got the permanent contract which starts next year. Why Surrey for you though? You know the interest is there, but why is it attractive for you?
I think it's, well, in my opinion, it's the biggest club in England. They look at the history, all the trophies they've won. Obviously, having the influential coaches around, obviously going to learn a lot from that. And then I want to play for England, and my aim goal is to play for England. And obviously, the coaches around there are going to help me play for England. And I think it's just a fresh start almost. Moving away from Somerset, it's just a fresh start, and hopefully things can happen from here. Are you relishing the competition for places recently? Reece Topley joining up with Surrey, and then of course so many players who aren't available right now because of injury. It's going to be a proper scrap, isn't it? Yeah, it is. But I think that just improves people's performance. Everyone's if everyone's trying to get into the team, it just makes everyone sort of improve, and if that helps anyone, I look at it as a positive. You're not going to play every game, but if you can keep improving your performance, then you never know how far you're going to get. How will your red ball form help Surrey in T20 Blast? Because recently, decent performance against Northampton, and of course the maiden test ton as well. Yeah. So how do you use any of that to try and transfer to them? I think it's just trying to do the basics really well. Obviously T20 is a different skills. You obviously got your Yorkers and your slow balls in there, but I still think if you're just bashing away top of off stump, it's still hard for the batsman to hit it off there. Especially if I'm bowling at my top pace, it's not easy for the batsman, whatever pace it, or if it's coming down at that pace. So if I can do that, and then obviously batting as well, I've sort of found a method that sort of worked, and hopefully I can stick to it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, that's presumably something you really want to offer, that contribution with the bat. You're not just here to offer your searing pace. That's something that you feel is really a big part of your game now.
Yeah, 100%. I've always seen myself as a rounder. Probably at times I've batted a little bit too low and almost feel like I've got to go out and score quicker than I have to. Just because there's obviously not as much opportunities if you're batting at 10 or 11. So yeah, I've been trying to get up the order and almost thinking like a batter. And there's still times where I'm going to get it wrong because I've not quite learned everything yet, but hopefully with a bit of experience with Vic and Stewie being around, then who knows, I can push that on even higher.
And a real change of scenery. I mean, playing in Taunton, Somerset, and now in South London at 25,000 capacity ground. Of course, we won't have those fans in for a little while yet, but how do you sort of take that on? You've played here before, but this is now your home ground. Yeah,
it's obviously a very different, but like it's one I think is the best ground in England. Like the times I played it, I've loved it. The buzz that you get from playing in front of 25,000 is unbelievable. And I've always heard the Middlesex Surrey game is always the biggest game, and obviously that's happening on Saturday, and it's unlucky that we haven't got the crowd in because it would have been nice to witness what that was like. But obviously I've got the next 3 years to look forward to that too. So, well yeah, I'm very much looking forward to a full house crowd here.
We were here not so long ago for the game against Essex Eagles, T20 without a crowd. It was a really alien experience, but at least 2,500 Surrey members have got in for this one. Those tickets snapped up in 36 hours. It's a step, isn't it?
It definitely. I think it is very bizarre playing in front of no one, especially T20, because obviously you get the buzz and you get the atmosphere from the crowd, and that almost gets you going. But like, it's professional sport, so we have to find a way, and like you've almost got to try and create your own atmosphere. But having the 2,500 is going to help. It'll obviously give you something. So hopefully, they can get behind us tonight.
And in terms of the England picture, you mentioned that this is your great ambition. This club will hopefully propel you towards that in a very significant way. How do you assess that picture? It feels like that there are, especially at test level, but also in the one day and the white ball squads, there's a lot of potential movement, but it's pretty tough. So yeah, it's going to be a challenge, but you feel like this is the right springboard. Yeah,
definitely. I think whenever you try and get into an England squad, it's always going to be tough. Like you look in, and it's a very established team in both sort of assets or facets. So it's going to be tricky, but I feel like this is the place that I need to be to try and achieve that dream. And hopefully, you never know, if I have a couple of good games at the end of the season, and then next year, then who knows? Things happen quite quickly. I spoke to Darren Goff, and he was just like, 4 games, you can be in the England side if you have a good 4 games. That's what he did. So like, it's one of those. If you do well for a period of time, then you can only keep knocking, and hopefully eventually it will come.
We wish you the best of luck. Go well.
Cheers. Thank you.
So that was Jamie Overton, very chatty, very relaxed character, just getting used to his new surroundings. And by the way, we're still waiting to find out what is happening here at the Kia Oval. As you can see, some of the covers have come off. We've got the super stoppers on. We're trying to get, the drainage system is very, very good here at the Kia Oval. So hopefully we haven't got too much of a delay to the start of play. And then, as we know, when we've had the toss, etc., then we will give you the news of that. Let's talk a bit about bowlers, because as I mentioned, you're coming back to a competitive dressing room in that sense. Reece Topley has joined Surrey as well. So what will Reece bring into the mix here? Because he's got some unique skills, isn't he, as a bowler?
First off, he's a left arm over with the height, gets that bounce, and he's got great skills. He's good up top, good at the depth as well. He's played for England. He's been successful for England. He's back in the mix now. He's been a part of the bubble and stuff like that. So just making the squad stronger. We're not sure how much we're going to see Sam Curran. He's in and out also with England's squad. So to have that other option of a left-hander, left arm over, is great for the squad.
Yeah, and you think about other bowlers who could and should have been part of the mix as well here at Surrey. You know, at times it has felt like an embarrassment of riches, but it's just been incredible bad luck. You know, Morny Morkel did the old Glenn McGrath of 2005, trod on a ball, ankle issue, and has had to go back to South Africa, or go back to Australia, I should say, and have surgery on that. And of course, you know, we know Jade Dernbach is a T20 captain and should have been involved here. But you know, as it happens now, we've got some reinforcements, some more bodies back in the building, and that is key. Let's talk a little about Surrey's opponents today. Surrey obviously looking for their first win of the season and in this competition as well. Hampshire got their first. They beat the Essex Eagles a couple of days ago. In terms of batsmen, I guess you'd probably look at Sam Northeast as the main man there, because James Vince is not available at the moment, which is actually a bit of a blow for them, isn't it, not to have Vince there?
They're missing two massive players. Liam Dawson, who's been great for Hampshire for how many years now, especially the white ball stuff. He's played a lot of stuff around the world, T20 franchises, and James Vince is a class player. Didn't go too well in international cricket this summer, but I'm sure he would have loved to be in here, and you know how dominant he's been in T20 Blast and also Championship cricket for Hampshire. They're a good team, as you said. They're a workman-like team now with not big stars, not many overseas over this because of the virus and what's gone on. But they're a good team. They've got some good players.
It sounds like they've suffered a little bit with that, Liam. I mean, obviously. We know that, for example, one of their key players, Liam Dawson, is out with an injury. Just speaking to him a little bit earlier on, he's out for 6 months. He won't be ready until next summer, really, and the build-up to next summer. Kyle Abbott, who had 20 wickets in this competition last season, not able to come over. Riley Rousseau, etc., etc. But in terms of someone who can take wickets, and be interesting to see how this pitch responds to him, will be Mason Crane. He did well in the last game against Essex Eagles, took 3 for 19. A little bit on him because, you know, finding decent leg spinners is difficult, but England saw a little bit in him before, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, it happened to me when you first come onto the scene and you have a good couple of years and then the pressure gets put on you. He struggled a little bit. I played with him at T20 at Somerset against South Africa. He went okay, got a few wickets, and then he struggled for a little bit, but it seems like he's finding his feet again and he's bowling quite nicely. But I feel as the Surrey batsman, he gives you a ball to hit. So it'll be interesting to see if we do get after him, how he reacts and comes back.
And in terms of fast bowlers, well, looking at the squad yesterday, I was thinking, well, do they have a main strike bowler? And then guess who signs? Fast bowler from Pakistan, 20 years of age, has been playing in the Test matches and in the T20 for Pakistan over here at the Ageas Bowl and at Old Trafford. Shaheen Afridi, and he is quite something. He is a sensation. He has already dismissed Rory Burns 3 times in as many Test matches, and also, as you mentioned just off air just now, cleaned up Johnny Bairstow, just completely rearranged his stump. So let's hear now from the fast bowling sensation who is playing for Hampshire in the T20 Blast, Shaheen Afridi. Here he is. Shaheen, you're here at the Kia Oval, and it's great to see you in English cricket. How has your summer been?
First time I play for after PSL. I'm just playing PSL, and now is my first league to play. So really honor for me, and I'm looking forward.
And how has your summer with Pakistan been? You've obviously been involved with both the Test team and the T20 team. How do you feel it's gone?
To be honest, we played some good cricket and really enjoy. And thanks for ECB to arrange all of these things. And we played some good cricket.
It's interesting to see that in the games you played, you dismissed Rory Burns 3 times in 3 Test matches, and you could face him again today, bowling to him when Surrey bats. Do you feel that you have the advantage over Rory Burns right now?
Yeah, I will try my best. So he's facing on me on Test cricket. He's red ball, so now it's totally different T20. So I will try my best to perform my team, and let's see.
And just finally, playing here but with no crowd, you're used to that because of playing for Pakistan behind closed doors. But today we will have 2,500 fans here. Does that excite you as a prospect?
Yeah, it's tough. We playing Test and T20 matches without crowd, but it's time to. And now people is coming, so it's great for me to be perform with crowd.
Fantastic. Good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We've we've made an early substitution. If you're watching us here on the Surrey digital and social channels, or indeed on KearOval.com, I'm joined now by BBC Radio Silence Kevin. James, thank you so much for stepping in. We've given Liam Plunkett just a little bit of a drinks break, hydration break, to give us the Hampshire perspective. I'm just talking about Shaheen Afridi and what an acquisition that is. I mean, that gives you a strike bowler now, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Gosh, he'd be an addition to any side, not just Hampshire. I'm very much looking forward to seeing him actually this afternoon. Of course, he's one of those that we signed quite a while ago. He's over here, of course, or has been over here with Pakistan. I think it was only natural that he would have carried on and joined up with us for this.
And of course, he's got a good record at the moment against Rory Burns. Dismissed him 3 times in 3 Test matches. But you watch all of the matches that Hampshire have played in many different formats. Can you realistically use that as any kind of guide to then saying, right, in T20, maybe that will actually carry through? You've got an edge there, a psychological edge. You're facing a bowler who seems to have your number, or does it not quite work like that?
Oh, listen, I think first and foremost, I think it will give the guys a massive boost. You know, a bit like Surrey, we haven't started great in this competition. The weather hasn't helped, of course. But I think tonight, we haven't done very well here in the last 3 or 4 games. So I think having Shaheen Afridi here, overhead conditions, white ball we know doesn't do loads, but it might do in the first few overs. He's good enough to make something happen in the first few overs, and if he's Rory Burns, I know he didn't have a great Test series, who knows.
In terms of your bowling effort, Mason did very well the other day, didn't he, against Essex Eagles? So I suppose, how much will you be relying on him as your main spin weapon?
Oh, listen, Mason's been awesome in both forms of the game so far. He's bowled especially well at Essex, 3 for 18 in the last game. Turned the ball, and of course he turns it both ways, which, as you know, in T20 cricket is ideal, because as a batsman you cannot set yourself. So you've got somebody that's potentially not going for many runs. You've now got Shaheen Afridi in the side, which potentially shouldn't go for many runs. You've got 8 out of the 20 overs now that are going to make it very difficult for Surrey.
And of course, there's a man who took a hat-trick against Surrey not so long ago, in James Fuller, and you know, he could be again a threat, not just with the ball but with the bat, because he scored in the last couple of games as well. A nice little 53 not out off 31. So how about him as a player that Surrey have to keep an eye on?
Well, he's in form with the bat, no doubt about that. Hit some big 6s down at Hove. They might have to be a bit bigger here on this outfield. But yeah, he's in form, which is great. You need a guy coming in middle order that can hit a mean ball. You guys have had it. I mean, Aaron Finch at the top of the order in the past, but in the middle order, that's kind of ideal. Bowling-wise, he's been going for a few runs. He tends to sometimes be that sort of pace that players don't mind the ball coming on. So he's a bit hit and miss, but we'll make up for it with the bat. And
in terms of, obviously, we discussed this briefly with Liam Plunkett. Batting-wise, you're not able to count on James Vince right now. Hopefully that will clear up, in the next couple of weeks. He's been taking COVID restrictions. Obviously he's waiting the birth of his second child. But instead you do have Sam Northeast, who therefore will carry a lot of that responsibility.
Sam Northeast is yet to get going in this competition, but we all know his pedigree. He's an absolutely superb player, no problem. The player that's really impressed for Hampshire this season is Joe Weatherly. A really good half century against Kent in a rained out game we had down there at Canterbury. So we're actually relying on him a little bit. But yeah, listen, no James Vince. Hopefully, we thought we might be back for this one, but I think it might be a few more days. No Liam Dawson, of course, don't forget. Both bowling and batting. We miss him big time as well. So we're missing a few, but like Surrey, there are players playing that don't normally play. And 1 or 2 people are making a name for themselves.
Yes, I mean, that's the way to look at it, isn't it? You've struggled, like Surrey have, in terms of bringing players from overseas. There's no Riley Rousseau, there's no Kyle Abbott, who contributed hugely with his 20 wickets in this competition last year, and as you mentioned, the injury to Liam Dawson. What's the prognosis on that, by the way? Is it likely to be out for the rest of this season, full stop, and be building up for next summer?
Funny enough, I spoke to him about an hour ago on Zoom, but yeah, he's out. I mean, he'll literally be about ready for the start of next season. That's how serious it is. You wouldn't have thought so when he did it at Radlett and the Bob Willis Trophy, to set off for a single, fell down. You think, give him a few days, he'll be fine. Obviously quite serious, ruptured Achilles. Yeah, it's a horrible injury to have. It's one that you need to manage, don't you? You have to be so careful. Anything ligament related, whether it's knee or Achilles, those are the long-term ones you've just got to judge as you go. To those of you who've just joined us here on this Surrey stream, on Surrey's digital and social channels, and of course on KearOval.com, welcome along. As you can see, the skies are overcast, but the good news is the covers are slowly coming off. The strip in the middle there, which is still protected at the moment, but as Kevin rightly says, if you're going to hit a 6 at this ground, you're going to have to hit it
pretty big. This is exactly what Surrey did against Essex Eagles, and almost worked as a tactic to try and negate the big hitting of the likes of Cameron Delport, Ryan Tender-Scarter, etc. And in the end, well, it went down to the last ball, and Surrey couldn't quite get over the line. It was a dramatic tie in that game. And do you sense, partly also because of these overhead conditions, we're playing in September, there's going to be more no results, more abandonments, that therefore wins come at a premium, and that 2 points is even more valuable than it would be normally?
Well, we mustn't forget, of course, it's only 10 games, isn't it? 5 home and 5 away. It's been 14 in the past. Even 14 doesn't seem that many. So you then take it down to 10, 1 or 2 no results, as you say, in that, and you're basically playing 7 games. That's nothing, absolutely nothing at all. So there's going to be a bit of luck in this for any side to actually qualify.
You talk about recruiting Shaheen Afridi, as you said, you planned that already, but he's now in the side and will play today. But what about Surrey's recent acquisitions? Do they make you quake in your boots with fear? The likes of Reece Topley and Laurie Evans, and of course Hashim Amla, and as we know, Surrey have got a lot of injuries and players away with England. So, it's been strange that they've had to recruit, because they've already got a strong squad, but you know how it works in cricket, a lot of the time they are away. But the injuries have been severe. Who do you see as the main danger men for Surrey in this game?
Oh, listen, I think every time we've played against Surrey, whether it's been this 4-day, 50 over, I think Surrey have always, for various reasons, have missed 12 or 13 players, and yet they still put out a superb side, and they'll do the same again this evening. I've seen a lot of Jamie Overton, wholehearted player, as you know. It's something that's always sort of mentioned when he'll be good at this. Of course he does. Hits the deck, makes it hard for you. Of course he does. Anybody that does that makes it hard as a batter. Hashim Amla, we know from Hampshire. He played 2018 with us, but he didn't actually play T20. He played the other 2 forms of the game. And we know Reece Topley. He had 3 seasons with us between 2016 and 2018.
Familiar foes.
Well, so actually a lot of these players we know quite well. Reece, I think the last time he played against us for Sussex, which was last year, got 4 wickets against us, so he's still putting in performances. But we struggled to get him on the park a lot, really. I mean, he was going through that really horrible spell with his back.
Well, he had 5 stress fractures to his back. I mean, he feels like someone who should have so much to offer, but it feels like it's going to have to happen later in his career, because his progression has been stunted because of those injuries. It's just such a sad story, isn't it? But now maybe he gets the chance to prove it.
Well, there is no bowler that bowls with any pace that hasn't had some form of back injury or something major. So it's almost it's common these days. Some get it more than others. Obviously, Reece is one of those. When he did play for us, yes, it was obvious he was going to do a really good job. But I think now you guys will probably benefit from seeing him coming out the back end of that more than we did, because he was in the thick of those sort of back injuries, and we just couldn't get him on the park.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what Reece Topley comes out to bowl for Surrey a little bit later on, as and when we do get underway, and hopefully the start of play isn't too far away. And just looking forward a little bit, Kevin. I mean, you mentioned that we're talking off air that you've been away for all of the games so far in the T20. There's the roll of the eyes. Yeah, but then 5 of your last 6 games are at home at the Ageas Bowl, and knowing how that pitch responds to turn, Mason Crane being in decent form, maybe like Essex Eagles did last season. If you look in the crystal ball, could you build up the momentum then? I mean, they only just sneaked through in 4th in the group and then managed to peak with 5 wins in their last 5 games to win the thing. Can you see, I mean, where does Hampshire rank in terms of their genuine chances in this tournament?
Well, as you know, David, I mean, up until a few years ago, I think Hampshire had probably the best record in T20 since about 2009. We were always at final stage. In fact, in the end, I got bored with final stage, if I'm really, really honest. But hey, listen, I'd love them again. Last 2 years, we've struggled a bit like Surrey. They've struggled in this competition a little bit, so we've struggled a little bit. Listen, is playing a lot of games at the Ageas at the back end of this competition advantage? I don't know, because the guys have been practicing away from that ground. So they've been using Arundel as a practice ground, as well as playing the 4-day stuff there. They've been using a place up in Winchester to practice. So actually, in a way now, the Ageas has become an alien ground to them. So listen, it won't take long before they remember how to play there. But it might take a game or 2. We'll have to wait and see.
You should say that, because you're the home team at the Ageas Bowl, and it's so familiar to everyone else who's been watching international cricket this summer, watching the T20 games and the Test matches against the West Indies and against Pakistan. It feels like we know this ground at Old Trafford more than any other right now, and yet the team who don't know it are Hampshire.
Weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've hardly set foot in that ground, because, as you know, it's a biosecure ground. You can't. So I'm looking forward. I mean, I know they are, but I'm actually looking forward to getting there. I mean, I've forgotten where the commentary position is there. In fact, it's changed, so I've got to relearn things there as of about the back end of next week.
Well, as you can hear, I mean, there is some activity here at the Kia Oval. You can hear the PA. I can't quite make out what Johnny Barron is saying, but as soon as we do get those messages, we will let you know if we do actually get, I think I heard the word 7:30 at BST, which sounds about 40 minutes away, and if that is indeed the case, then we will let you know, and the news of the toss, etc. But just, this is a sight for sore eyes, isn't it, Kevin? We have fans sat in seats at this ground. It's a step in the right direction. We know it's a test event. Tried to get them on. We had to, you know, row back on that because of surges in coronavirus in different places. And now, again, we have 2,500 Surrey members in here. I mean, that is, as I say, a sight for sore eyes, isn't it?
Well, it looks weird because, like you and most people watching this and myself, just got used to watching cricket now with nobody around. It's a bit like watching second team cricket, you know, back in my younger days, and that's a bit like playing in front of nobody, a bit like watching, you know, with nobody around. I think the 4-day game wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
You know, there's not many people around. I mean, I know you get reasonably good crowds in here anyway, but the T20 is just weird.
It's
I mean,
eerie,
even at Essex last week, when we were there a few days ago, they were playing music.
Yes.
Right, in between the boundaries, and you think, who are they playing music to?
Yeah,
there's nobody there.
I suppose it's just an attempt to try and recreate the vibe of T20 cricket, which is the pyrotechnics. It is the, you know, the boundary music, the wicket music, the kind of, you know, wow, 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 wow when a wicket falls for the opposition batsman, etc. But you know, I guess it's, you know, we have to take the baby steps right now, and hopefully this will pass off safely, and hopefully also when Hampshire get playing once again at the Ageas Bowl, and maybe we can start seeing fans back there. That would be lovely to see. But as you say, right now it's still a bit alien. It's a little bit eerie when you don't have a full crowd in. We'll talk further about this game in a bit, but let's just sort of reflect a little bit on how Surrey have got on so far in the T20 Blast. It started off with a no result, and then the tie against Essex, and then the defeat as well after that against Kent at Canterbury. But let's just reflect on a few highlights of this season so far.
Right arm over, he bowls, this is pitched up in the air and he's been caught on the third attempt, I believe. We're blinded, but I sense that was the third attempt. That Dunn's in, bowls. This time it's gone for 6. It's gone not just over the boundary, but it's gone to 2 rows from the...
He walks in round the wicket to Wesley, who's slog sweeping, and this is in the air. Oh, and Scott Borthwick. Now then, with all that expanse, Scott Borthwick had come in off the rope, and it's ending up going over his head and bouncing probably 10 yards inside the boundary rope. Start of the 5th, coming in from the pavilion end to Wesley, and Wesley's flicking in behind square and away for 4. So James Taylor starts with a boundary with fine leg on the edge of the circle. Taylor is in, and here's Chopra again, swinging it. Great catch, brilliant catch at deep backward square. That is Scott Borthwick, and that is a cracker. In over the wicket he comes once again. Oh, quicker one. Oh, he's bowled him. Great bit of bowling from Scott Borthwick, and Wesley looking to whip that leg side.
Atkinson again comes in, bowls. This time he could be caught. He's caught a mid-off, and he slaps the bat into his pads. He knows that's going to be disappointing for his team. Gus Atkinson gets his man there.
Get to 55 for 4, and there's still plenty of batting to come. As reverse sweep is out from Wheater. That's nicely played, and that'll run away for 4.
In he bowls. It's a full toss, made into a full toss, but it's split the men on the boundary. I think that went for 6. Yes, both umpires have signalled 6. Borthwick in again. It's a full toss. It's in the air. He's clothed it though. It's gone to square leg, and he's been caught off a full toss. As this time Water plays well, he's gone across his stumps. It's a short ball, and he's helped it, and it's probably gone through second slip to the boundary. Wheater's facing, and Atkinson goes outside the off stump, and could have been a wide. He's going to be run out as Paul Water rightly calls him through. So Matt Quinn is bowling to Jamie Smith, who forces into the leg side. He's punch pulled it, and it's going to run away for 4 at straightish deep mid wicket. Quinn now to bowl to Jacks again, and this is cut. It's in the air, gone down to third man, and Essex have got their wicket. Fortuitous, I would say.
Snater comes in over the wicket to the right-handed Smith, who's driving beautifully through extra cover for 4. It was uppish, but he's timed that. That's a lovely, authentic cricket shot again.
Surrey are doing well.
Snater's in, and Laurie Evans, the on-drive. That's the shot of the day from Laurie Evans. So Paul Walter is coming left arm round the wicket to Laurie Evans, who slapped the first ball straight to Varun Chopra at extra cover. Nijjar, his final over, and driving is Ben Folkes. It's a lovely shot from Ben Folkes. That's away for 4. He is in the most wonderful nick at the moment. He's Ben Folkes.
Paul Walter comes here. Jamie Smith is facing, it's short, it's caught by Harmer. It's a rank bad ball, but it's got a wicket. It's short and wide.
Dalport now, bit of medium pace, coming round the wicket to Rory Burns, who's chipped it in the air and he's gone, caught at short mid-wicket. Would you believe it?
Slip still there, Borthwick is facing. Harmer bowls a little bit in the air. This is swept in the air. It's gone straight to the field. Aaron Nijjar, which this time he takes the catch at deep square leg. Harmer again bowls. It's in the air. What a great shot, I have to say. Atkinson has hit Harmer for 6.
Dalport over the wicket to Atkinson, who's swinging across the line. Gone LBW. It's worked.
Quinn on his way into Folkes. Folkes clips this for 4! He split 2 of the fielder square of the wicket, and deep square leg couldn't get there. So Quinn, everyone's coming in, walking in tightly. Folkes to face. Quinn comes in. It's a bouncer. It's in the air. Could he be caught? He is caught off this ball, and we've got what we asked for. Ben Folkes has gone. Matt Quinn, he bowls, and this is a stumping, but no, I don't think it's a stumping. It's simply a dot ball, and the game has been tied.
Welcome back to the Kia Oval. Just highlights there of Surrey's matches so far in this 2020 Vitality Blast. Hasn't got off to the best of starts, admittedly, and also in the Bob Willis Trophy. It's been a tough start, and of course this is a one-off in the Bob Willis Trophy, just the group stages as they are, and Surrey have one remaining game to play in that competition in the group stage. Liam Plunkett is back after his hydration break, drinks break. Let's talk a little bit about Surrey in this competition so far. So we mentioned particularly the tie here at the Kia Oval, the first game that we had here at home. It was behind closed doors. It was a bit of a surreal experience having T20 cricket with no crowd. But how do you assess the way that Surrey approached that game, the way that Gareth Batty managed the bowling effort to then set the target, and then how Surrey went about trying to chase it down?
Being honest, I think I wasn't in the dressing room after they had a chat, but I think we bowled quite nicely. We did, as a group, we bowled nicely, and as a batting, we just focused batted nicely, but we just didn't finish it off. Yeah. As I said, I wasn't in the dressing room at the point to see what was said, but I'm sure it was like we bowled nicely. You can improve a little bit, but as a batting, no one hung around long enough to back Folkes. He's had his anchor roll, and you got a lot of new faces at the bottom end from 7, 8 downwards. And it's that experience. It would have been nice for some of the older guys. I'm not saying I help finish it, but you help people through and you speak to people. Yes. And some decisions were made by batsmen that they'll probably regret, and that's how you learn. Yeah. So if it comes back and it comes again, they play them games like that and situations like that, and maybe you can finish the job off. Is
those moments where you think, what if, right? So, Surrey managed to have Essex 52 for 4, really under the cosh, a chance to break them down properly. And Surrey themselves were 87 for 2, and that they didn't have the luxury of finisher down the order, but Laurie Evans was already back in the pavilion at that stage. And you kind of think, what if? And then, of course, 1 off 2 with Folkes at the crease, and just unfortunate. 2 wickets went down. The game ended in a tie against the reigning champions. Remember, this is an Essex team who perhaps just snuck through. We were talking with Kevin James of Radio Solent about this before. Just snuck through and finished 4th in the group. It was a real scrap last season for that final knockout stage place, wasn't there? And then peaked at the right time and managed to sail through the knockout stage and then win in the final against Worcestershire at Edgbaston. Is there something to be said for that momentum, Liam? It might not start that well. They won 2 out of their first 10. But then they managed to build that and finally just work out what their game plan was. There's still a chance that Surrey can do that here, isn't there?
100%. We've lost 1 game, there's 1 rained out and a tie. How many games are left? But you get a couple of wins on the board back to back, and that momentum shifts. People are more confident. You come out, you you feel more confident to play your own game, and you just feel better as a team, and that can easily happen. Get a win tonight. It's obviously a shortened game. Win tonight, get some confidence, and you move on to the next game. Then you have that break when the championship game, the Bob Willis Trophy's on, and then you come back and refresh, because the season's not that long. So give you all for the remaining games, and hopefully we can sneak in the playoffs and the finals.
And by then, as you say, you'll have a few more bodies back in the dressing room. The treatment table won't be quite so widely used, and hopefully there are more options there for the likes of Gareth Batty or Rory Burns and Alex Stewart to look at. Let's just talk a little bit then about you and your lockdown time and your return hopefully from injury fairly soon. How was lockdown for you and you personally, because your other half was stuck on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, wasn't she?
Yeah, it's obviously it's tough. I want to be with my wife, but I think we're used to being apart a little bit. She's still an American citizen, she lives there, and I'm over here. It was a tricky time, but we're used to it because a lot of the travelling. A lot of new couples who've probably been apart for the first time might have struggled, but we managed to get through it. I kept myself busy I've been doing some strength and conditioning courses and trying to keep myself busy in that format. But yeah, it was like everyone else. My family was happy and healthy. Everyone was going through a rough time, but as long as my friends and family were safe, we were both happy.
How did you spend your time when you were at home, fully just at home and not really able to go out much? Was there much bench pressing to be done? Was there much intense workouts?
I was very fortunate. I live in like a farm track, a farm cottage, and I whistled the farmer when he went past on his tractor, asked him for some spare tyres, and it was like 4 a.m. I heard some beeping going along, and he sort of lifted the tyres and left in my garden, so I had them to flip
be
around.
Creative, right?
You do, but my road bike, was out on my road bike a little bit, and it was quite that time to keep fit. It wasn't really cricket specific. Surrey did the best they could, and no one really knew the end time when we were going to start playing, but a lot of guys were out running and biking, trying to keep yourself in some sort of good spirit. But I think for me, looking at that, the biking and stuff like that, it wasn't cricket specific, and it might lead to injuries like myself. You pull up a hamstring, it might be, it might not, but it was such a surreal year. And obviously hopefully finish this year strong, and you can aim for next pre-season and be very cricket specific, and hopefully get a full year being fit.
I was chatting with Ollie Pope a little bit over lockdown. He was came on air with me on Sky Sports News. We actually managed to get to know Dexter as well, one of his dogs. He was also making an appearance, and Ollie was telling me, he was spending a lot of time just kind of working on his chipping. He's a keen golfer in the garden. I think everyone had their own specific activity, but what he also said, and I don't know if Liam you can chime in with this as well, but there was a really good kind of supportive camaraderie on the England WhatsApp groups, etc. I mean, you're all in different parts of the country. Was that keeping you going a little bit?
Surrey were awesome. We had Zoom calls every so often. Then we did the chats with like Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes. So it was good to tap into them about them. Obviously, we didn't. What their sport was about, no one passed that on because it was personal. It was just great to speak to them, ask them questions. Some of the youngsters, some cheeky questions about favourite players, what happened really with Ferguson and Beckham, and that kind of stuff. And it was good to listen to that. And it made you excited to sit down with the boys. But yeah, I mean, everyone had their own structure. For me, I needed structure day in, day out. That put my week in place, and I tried to give myself the weekend off, and I found that the hardest when I didn't have any structure. Monday through Friday was right, I'll get up, train, do some coursework, some reading, a bit of training on the night. And on the weekend I was like twiddling my thumbs a little bit. But you need to give your body time to rest. But yeah, Surrey were great, and as you said, as long as your family and friends are good and playing to occupy yourself.
I think keeping your mind occupied, I think that was for a lot of people the biggest battle, right? The mental stress that this whole situation has put on everyone. Just to give you some news from the toss, Surrey have won it and they've chosen to bowl first here at the Kia Oval, so we will see the likes of Reece Topley and Jamie Overton already in action early on here, and then a little bit later on we'll see how many overs decide, etc, etc. If it is a curtailed game, then we will see, for those interested, Shaheen Afridi of Pakistan as well. We'll hear more from Liam in just a moment. I've got plenty more to ask you, especially about that intel you get from the likes of Giggs and Scholes must be incredible. When you talk to people in different sports, there must be some take-homes from them as well. We'll talk further with Liam in a bit. But let's just reflect on the most recent game that Surrey played in the T20 Blast. It was the third game in this South Group. It was away at Canterbury. Surrey put up 161 for 4. In the end, tough to defend that, even despite the efforts of Hashim Amla, who made 75, and a career-best T20 score from Rory Burns of 56, not out. In the end, Kent did indeed chase that down. But let's show you the highlights from that game. For those of you just joining us here on Surrey's digital and social channels, we're here in the 1845 stand at the Keir Oval. That's of course the year that the club was formed. It's Surrey's 175th anniversary this year, and hopefully they can crown that with some silver. Or as Liam Plunkett alongside me was saying, you know what, this is a tournament where you can build your momentum, get a couple of wins, suddenly you're pushing up that South group and maybe in position to move into the knockout stages. Chatting with Liam before about what he's been doing in lockdown, but I want to take you a little bit further back to the 15th of July 2019, because it was here where the sort of official World Cup kind of, next day celebration was held. The trophy was paraded around the Keir Oval. This your home team. So tell me, what was that like the night before and that day as well? I mean, these must be such sweet memories for you when you look back.
The actual day of the game, it was. I felt quite calm. I think I've been through a lot with England and ups and downs. I played over a period of time and being dropped and come back, and I just felt that 2 or 3 years before we've been playing such a high quality standard of cricket. We've been winning series home and away, and I just, even when we got beaten in the World Cup, I felt it was written in the stars that we were going to win it. Not over complacent, not too confident, but I was confident in a way that the boys were working on, as you say, it's quite like the 1%ers, the 2%ers, doing all the small things and wanting to improve, and everyone wanted someone else to do well. So when it came to the final, I just tried to enjoy it. There was obviously the slight nerves. I didn't start great running down the hill, but when I came back, I felt in a groove, and I just sort of, this is what I'm going to do, and back myself to do it. Morgs was at mid-off, threw the ball to me, and he said, "You're one of the best in the world at doing this job. I back you." It's always nice to have your captain say that. An amazing day. Obviously down till that over, and we struggled. It won't happen again in England with a Super Over, a World Cup final. That'll never happen again.
Decided on who hit the more boundaries during the innings. I mean,
I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but your role was pivotal. And I remember being at Edgbaston for that incredible game against India, where England were playing the knockout stage. Essentially, a couple of games early. So, how would you explain to younger viewers here on the stream just the technical ability you need to do the job you do in the middle overs, with you at one end and Adil Rashid at the other, and the variety and what you need to do that ended up taking prize wickets, the likes of Virat Kohli and Kane Williamson. Just explain how you go about that and what your game plan is.
I think for me, as I want to do my basics well, I always love to smash the pitch, hit the top of the stumps, off stump, middle stump, depending on the batsman where he likes to score, offside, leg side. And it's all about the slight little subtleties. When I bowl, so it's cross seam, I might change my finger positions, kind of come out a little bit quicker, 5 miles an hour quicker, 5 miles an hour slower. I don't have any amazing secret balls like the knuckle balls, back of the hand. I'm trying to work on them now, but it's just the tiny little variations that someone might try and play a full-blooded drive and it come on slow and get caught cover. For me, it's about doing the basics well. You have your other plans of your A, B and C, where you have to revert to your slow balls, you have to revert to your Yorkers, to your wide Yorkers, and obviously you practice them day in, day out. But for me, my plan is I'll bowl that until someone comes and attacks me, and then I'll change my game plan. No matter if it's Kohli or someone playing village cricket, I would do the same thing. I back myself at doing that. I feel I'm one of the best at doing that. So that's what I did, just prepared 2 days out, had a good ball the day before, a light ball, coming to the game, mark your run out, back yourself to do what I've been doing the last few years, and go full steam ahead.
Fantastic. I mean, this is really key and precious intel for anyone who is looking to be a seamer, a fast bowler, and younger fans watching this stream. That there is incredible amounts of those nuances, as you say, those varieties, those subtle changes. I'm interested, do you know, if you bowl a certain ball, do you know that's 83 miles an hour? Do you know that's 85 miles an hour? Sure, if it's a particularly quick delivery, you'll know, but can you more or less judge just by that feeling, your muscle memory?
I think you can't judge the MPH exactly, but if you're going to run the ball the quickest ball as you can, that it might be in the late 80s. And if you hold the ball back, you generally know what speed that slow ball is going to be, what kind of speed your cut is going to be. If you're bowling 85 and you bowl a cutter, you know it might drop 10 miles an hour, or it might come 8 miles an hour. So it's not specific to the 1 or the 2 miles per hour, but it might be the big drops, I know. But for me, it was massive changing the seam positions in terms of bowling. A lot of wobble seams, which is, people don't know, like a 3/4 position. A lot of wobble seams, cross seams, and try and have different variations with that. So a cross seam might be tipping my fingers, and then the next cross seam might be right back in my fingers. So there's two different deliveries that the batsman might not pick up. And as I said, they're the ones that they might go out and try and hit out the park, and it might get stuck in the wicket or skid on, especially cross seam. And that was something I went to, cross seam. I wasn't as good as the other guys at swinging it up top, and the ball didn't swing in the middle overs when I got it. So what could I do different to make the batsman think? So that's what I did. I worked on that with my cutters and the cross seam and the wobble deliveries, and I went full steam ahead with that.
And that was your 1%, and that's the thing, you know, we were all so privileged, especially in this country, to witness an England team who were admittedly that heavy favourites tag that you were carrying throughout the tournament, and at one point, you know, it looked like it was in the balance and needed to come back in the group stage, but ultimately, you know, you doing your 1%, everyone else doing their jobs, and led by Owen Morgan, had that incredible result of winning against New Zealand in the final in that super over. Let's now just reflect with one of the players who's come back to Surrey, played here in 2013 and 2014, who has now completed his quarantine time, as we were all doing before, and that is Hashim Amla. We know that he will be playing today, having scored that 75 against Kent just a couple of days ago. A man who spent 13 hours and 10 minutes at the crease here 8 years ago to make his absolutely astonishing 311 not out. This is when South Africa were really a team to be feared in Test cricket, and they were making their way back up to being the top-ranked team on the planet in the longest form of the game. We caught up in the committee room with Hashim Amla a bit earlier on.
Hashim, welcome back. Welcome back to Surrey. And obviously, in these very strange times, you've had to spend 2 weeks at your base here in London. How's that gone for you?
Yeah, thank you. It's lovely to be back. Familiar faces, and obviously playing at the Oval is always wonderful. The 2 weeks, you know, you got to get through it, do a bit of reading and just catching up as much as you can with the family back home, because you do miss the family. But yeah, 2 weeks is a stretch, and thankfully I got through it.
What about physical preparation? What can you meaningfully do when you are essentially in one building?
Yeah, you know, I think you got to use that 2 weeks to kind of stretch a bit. You can do your push-ups and sit-ups. In terms of cardio, skipping is the best option. It doesn't need too much of space, but still it's not ideal.
YouTube videos?
Yeah, you watch a few about this and that, and a few documentaries here and there, but still it's not easy to keep physically in check. You know, after the last game, I can feel a stiffness, like I haven't done too much of running over 2 weeks.
You're back after, was it now 6 years away? I think 2014 was your last year here. What have you seen change? What's different here?
Yeah, Stewie looks the same, and actually the ground is looking great as always. You know, some familiar faces like Batsy, Jade Dernbach, and then some new guys, a lot of youngsters, which is great. And one thing that you do enjoy is when you come here, you kind of mingle with the younger guys, and it takes a day or two to kind of know everybody, but it's always enjoyable.
Are there any specific memories from your 2 seasons here before that really still are ingrained in the memory for you, Hashim?
Yeah, we just had a good team environment. That was something that really stuck out. I stayed close by as well, so getting in and out of London was pretty comfortable. You know, sometimes it gets difficult with the traffic, but fortunately at that stage it was easy.
That hasn't changed.
Yeah, it hasn't changed. The trains are a little bit more quiet, obviously, with the situation, but the team environment was very good, and obviously that's something that's really important to have.
And of course, when you talk about this ground and the Kia Oval, you've got to talk about 2012, right? And
yeah, you know, some good memories.
Triple century.
Yeah, I had some good memories a few years back. It's certainly one of the best grounds to play at. You know, Lord's is up there. The Oval has a different feel. It's a lot more open, and it's always in immaculate condition. And the wicket's generally very good, so it's just a lovely place to play at.
But obviously, you know, you'd love to play here with 25,000 in. This time 2,500 instead, because we're making steps back towards the return of fans to grounds. It is a significant step to have some support in, but what's it like as a batsman when you're playing in a venue which is 90% empty, because it has to be right now?
Yeah, it's different. You know, I've been involved in some games where there's no fans, like obviously behind closed doors, and it does have a very somber feel to it initially, until you start going into the game, and obviously the intensity of needing to win the match. But you know, kudos to the guys who are trying to get crowds back in. 2,500 is a great start. And I'm sure people have been waiting for those tickets to be on sale. So it's a great start, and it's a unconventional kind of situation we're in, and whatever small steps towards opening things up as best as possible within the guidelines and all that type of things. You've got to do it.
Since your international retirement, you're doing some batting consultancy. You've been working out the PSL and in South Africa as well. What's that been like for you? Because obviously for those who are getting the benefits of your mentoring, let's say, obviously that's brilliant for them. But does it also help you keep abreast of the game and how it's developing?
Yeah, certainly. The other fortunate thing is I carried my kit bag wherever I went, so I managed to get my nets in and my training too. And I actually felt it's really helpful when you are speaking to somebody, about batting, that you can almost practically demonstrate it because I'm still in the game, and that's one of the aspects that I really enjoyed because. When you're talking about reflex work, you can actually put your pads on and join the guys in doing it. But mentoring was really enjoyable. I think growing up, we've all had mentors in different ways, and to kind of be part of somebody else's development, it's a nice feeling.
And then how was it? First game back in Surrey colours, and you're already hitting a nice 75. It felt like it just kind of clicked back seamlessly. Really.
Yeah, flukes happen, So, it was nice to get some runs. Always nice to get runs. Certainly, you didn't have many nets before that. You had one or two kind of net sessions to try and after the quarantine to be familiar with the bat. So I was really glad to get some runs, and although the result didn't go great for us, but it was nice for, Rory got batted really well too. So yeah, it was nice to get some runs.
And you've got some established fellow batsmen there, the likes of Rory Burns and Ben Foakes, etc. But you've also got someone like Will Jacks, who is now starting to show what he can do. Are you looking forward to that kind of relationship?
Yeah, definitely.
Someone who's got the world at his feet and his whole career in front of him.
Certainly, I've had kind of similar experiences batting with guys like Quinton de Kock. When he first started, fantastic player. So you kind of see their development and you think, wow, what an amazing player he's turned out to be. And I'm sorry, around the county circuit, you've got the young players coming in with a great deal of talent. And batting with Jaxie would be great. He didn't get a lot of runs in the first game, but seeing him bat in the nets, he's got all the shots and he seems very accomplished. And hopefully, things click on for him and he continues to grow in his career.
It's great to have you back here at the Kia Oval. We wish you well for the remainder of this season.
Thank you.
Well, what a change the last time that we were here at the Kia Oval for a Vitality Blast game. It was Surrey against the Essex Eagles, and the place was definitely silent. And now we've got just a little bit of PA music, we've got a little bit of hubbub there and fans in the ground, as we mentioned before. And Surrey worked ever so hard to get this off the ground. This is part of a test event as fans return to Stadia, and 2,500 Surrey members snapped up those tickets in just 36 hours to be here for this game against Hampshire, the fourth game in the South Group. Let's just tell you a little bit about the toss and the teams involved in this game. So Surrey won the toss and decided to bowl first, so we'll get underway in 10 minutes time. And the Surrey team looks like this, starting off with Jackson Amla at the top of the order, then Laurie Evans and Ben Foakes. Obviously Rory Burns is in as well after his knock the other day, unbeaten 50. Jamie Smith in at 6, Jamie Overton, the new signing, at 7. Gus Atkinson retains his place in the bowling attack. Gareth Batty, Dan Moriarty with their spin, and Reece Topley. How do you assess that as the team selection? Because now suddenly it seems there's a little bit more kind of competition for places, decisions to be made where you're not just having to play someone because you've got no one else, but actually you're making decisions based on who you're playing and the pitch conditions, etc.
Yeah, as a team coming here, Surrey's always a team that you're worried about. We need to perform and do well, but there's names in there that are experienced and high-class players. With obviously Jamie coming at the end, who can hit the ball out the ground, clear the rope, that's massive. If you need someone to come and finish it, he's shown in the Bob Willis Trophy, he smashed 100, so he's obviously in form with the bat, so that just strengthens, gives you extra depth in the batting department. Yeah. But as you said, you can pick teams now. There's people who missed out who probably deserve to play. But yeah, it's getting, people are coming fit, signings are coming in, more strength and depth to the team, which is good for us.
For the Hampshire team, they look like this. It is Felix Organ, Tom Alsop, Sam Northeastern, 3 Joe Weatherly, Lewis McManus, James Fuller. Fuller, who we mentioned this before, took a hat-trick to dismiss Laurie Evans, Gus Atkinson, Morley Morkel, 3 and 3 balls. That was in the Bob Willis Trophy a little bit earlier on as Surrey went down against Hampshire. Bowled out for 74 in that first innings. Ian Holland, Chris Wood, Ryan Stevenson, Mason Crane, the leg spinner, and Shaheen Afridi. As you mentioned, it's not a team with any real sort of big names in it. I mean, you'd probably look at Afridi and Crane as the ones that jump off the page. Where are the main danger men in that lineup then?
We've got Sam Northeast, who's played a lot. Kent, strong player, played against him quite a bit. A very natural, talented striker with the ball, good cricket brain. So he'd be a big wicket for Surrey if you get him early. I know Tom Alsop has got, I think he got runs last game. I think so anyway, yeah. So to get him early, he's informed, get a few wickets early, you know that's crucial, especially I think it's 17 overs we're playing. Get a few early wickets, put pressure on. I think as a fielding unit you've got to be attacking. That's what Surrey look to be. You need to stop off them ones and don't hang back, don't give many easy singles, and put pressure on in the field as well as the bowling.
We mentioned the absence of James Vince. He's taking sort of precautionary absence, if you like, because of coronavirus. His wife expecting the birth of their second child, so decided obviously to cleanse it, which is absolutely the right thing to do. But missing his experience, his captaincy, and Sam Northeast instead will be captaining this side. Are you surprised in a weird sort of way? I mean, he's been, as you said, both for Kent before and now for Hampshire, a proven performer in this form of the game as well. That he hasn't been looked at more internationally?
To be honest with you, it's quite hard with the team you've got. There's so many talented players. If you look at the Lions, I know he's been involved in the Lions squads and A teams, but if you look at that international team now, and even when they're in the bubble, the white ball squad, the guys that weren't even there because they're playing Test cricket, that's so strong. Liam Livingston and people like that, who are not getting into national first team. So it's a big pool to pick from. That talent in the World Cup squad and the one-day squad now is so good. And people are just starting to get a chance, like your Bantons are coming in and getting a chance and performing. So yeah, people might have stepped over him because they've been performing. So yeah, it is a tough one, but he's obviously a talented cricketer. He's done well he's done well in county cricket. So he needs to keep obviously performing and see where that leads him.
One of the absentees for Surrey, and again it's just a tactical change that's been made, is that no Scott Borthwick. So we did have 12 overs of spin last time with Batty and Moriarty and Scott Borthwick, so we'll only have 8 this time around. But you know, this seems like quite an interesting little mentoring kind of partnership between Batty and Moriarty. He bowled well against Kent in that last game. Dan Moriarty took 3 wickets. So just very briefly on him, you know, how much do you feel that he can progress, especially with someone with Gareth's experience, 42 years young and still such a key figure for the side?
Yeah, Batty's a class spinner. He's one of the best in the country in this format, and he can pass on a lot to Dan. I'm excited for Dan. He's a big strapping guy. He's a spinner that doesn't come around that often, so he have the ability to get over the ball, spin it, but can also bowl the quicker ball. Obviously, the Imad, who's been playing for Pakistan, is such a good person for him to watch. I spoke to him about watch him in the T20 games in the one-day cricket, see how he goes about stuff, and I think he's paying an interest in that. So he's willing to learn. He wants to improve, and also T20 as well as the Bob Willis Trophy. He's got wickets, and this is his real first taste of playing for Surrey. So next year he's going to come back better and stronger. Yeah. So those spin duo will be Moriarty and Batty, and the pace trio will be Topley, Jamie Overton, and Gus Atkinson, who admittedly went for a few last time around. Zach Crawley tucked into him a little bit. Obviously a player of that international quality, and Gus is still on very much the start of his learning curve. But that's the Surrey bowling attack, and they're going to have a bowl first because they've won the toss and they have decided to stick Hampshire in. And our pace trio on the commentary is Mark Church, Kevin James, and also Kevin Howe. So let's join the commentary now.
Welcome our viewers on the Surrey live stream now as well who've just joined us. Lovely to have you with us here on the Surrey live stream. You may have seen Kevin James earlier on the Surrey live stream, and what a wonderful job you did with your diary, Mr. James. We all enjoyed it, Mr. Howes and I especially. But I think from a Surrey perspective, find a way to get over that winning line.
Yeah, and it's a quick group, isn't it? 14 group matches we're normally used to. It's only 10. We're playing in September already. The no result factor might play a big part in who goes and qualifies and who doesn't. We've already had a result in the South Group this afternoon, where Kent narrowly beat Sussex by just 1 run. So the situation in the South Group is that Kent top with 6, then Sussex with 5, Hampshire just behind them with 3, Essex and Middlesex both have 2, and Surrey, poor old Surrey, at the bottom. So it's still early days. I mean, you are looking at the top 2 have played 4 and everybody else has played 3, but it won't be long before you're halfway through it, and then you're just over halfway. So yeah, somewhere along the line, I think Surrey, it's not panic, but don't press the panic button yet, and I'm sure even if they lose tonight, I guess the bottom line is you put in a decent performance so that when you go into your next one, you're then saying, yeah, well, we're about right now. But I mean, a win would suit Surrey tonight more than Hampshire, but of course I'm rooting for Hampshire.
Now listen to that, everybody. I'm going to turn the effects mic up. That is proper applause from real spectators. Isn't that lovely? Genuinely, that's lovely.
I prefer the pipe stuff.
That's proper live applause from 2,500 people inside the ground. So that is lovely to have a crowd in tonight. We've got a bit of an atmosphere this evening as Gareth Batty leads out the Surrey side in their duck egg blue shirts there and their black trousers, and then out come the openers for Hampshire in their bright yellow shirts with their dark trousers and their bright yellow pads. And we are all ready to go. 17 overs aside. Just a reminder, 17 overs aside. Power play is it's very precise. This is 5.1 overs. That's the power play. And then 2 of your bowlers can bowl 4, and you can make the rest up as you go along. And out there, Felix Organ on his T20 debut. Good luck to him tonight. And then Tom Alsop as well is out there as well. And so Felix Organ on T20 debut. Reece Topley, it looks like he's going to bowl our first over down there from the pavilion end. As I say, Kevin Howes will be joining us during the first innings and the second innings of this one. Just look at Jamie Overton. He's going to start off in a Surrey shirt down at third man in front of the spectators. Ben Folkes, of course, has the gloves. Rory Burns is wandering around with his long hair at the moment. I think he's going to go into slip. Hashim Amla will be on the edge of the circle at fine leg. There's a deep backward square, the backward point. There's going to be a cover, a mid-off, a mid-on, and a straight mid-wicket, which is Gareth Batty. So we're all ready to go. The right-handed Organ is the man on strike. Reece Topley just wants Hashim Amla a couple of paces to his left. Here we go then. From the pavilion end, Reece Topley left arm over the wicket to Felix Organ, down the leg side. Wow. And that has taken off at Ben Folkes, who's got gloves to it. You don't often see that. And leg buys the signal, just came off the thigh guard, but it was like an aeroplane taking off at Ben Folkes. And the crowd enjoyed that. They've been waiting weeks and weeks to have a cheer about something, and they get a leg by, Kevin James.
Yeah, they've had to be waiting quite a while as well, haven't they, before the start here this evening. Yeah, a bit of pace and a bit of bounce there. I guess we're going to expect that ball just to skid off this surface a little bit. Still overcast as well. Interesting, Felix Organ into the side. No George Munsey. It's been Munsey and Alsop opening in this competition up until now.
Left-handed Alsop on strike as in comes Topley, and Alsop just gets onto the back foot, opens the face, guides this one off down to third man, and they will get a single, and that'll be one more to the total. Dan Moriarty making his way back down there to third man. Jamie Overton out there at deep backward square. Just to say, same pitches was used for the game against Essex, and again, all the grounds being used. So they're long old boundaries as Topley is into Organ, and Organ swinging into the leg side off a thickish inside edge. Here is Jamie Overton moving around to his left. Where's number 88? There's Jamie Overton, and the shirt printers have been out, and it's a couple of runs for Organ. But this is the Surrey game plan. Use the entire ground.
Yeah.
And if you're going to go, you're going to have to go big.
I was going to say, I think square is probably about as big a boundary as both sides I think I've seen, because we're pretty central here, aren't we?
I think this would have been, as I was saying the other day, I think this would have been the test match wicket. As Topley is in, and this is short, and Organ's looked to pull this, and has actually got it up towards mid-off, and again that's onto him quite quickly.
Yeah. So
he's onto that a little bit late, and it's gone up towards mid-off, so it looks as if there is a bit of pace in this wicket with a bit of rain around.
It certainly does. Reece Topley, of course, a former Hampshire cricketer as well, 2016 to 2018. We had 3 seasons of him, on and off, mainly off because of course he was recovering from back problems, but got 4 wickets when he played against Hampshire last year for Sussex.
He's in again, over the wicket, and this one again, Organ. He's banged it in at him, he's looking to hook, but it was onto him quickly. He's got a little bit of glove on that, I think that could have gone anywhere, but they get through for a single. Good pace again from Reece Tropley, and of course Mr. Hashim Amla. Never played a T20 game though, did he?
Not for Hampshire, no.
No.
2018, we had him for a season, played Championship and 50 overs, didn't play T20.
First over here on BBC London, BBC Radio Solent, and Hampshire 5 without loss, stuck in by Surrey. Pulling here is Allsop up towards mid-on, and there is no run, and it's a very good first over from Reece Tropley. Tight over from Reece Tropley. There's a proper round of applause, a live round of applause for you from actual spectators, and 1 over gone, and Hampshire are 5 without loss.
How we've missed them.
It's actually, can I be honest with you, especially with the T20, it hasn't been the same without a crowd, and at least tonight with 2,500 in, we're going to get a bit of an atmosphere.
Yeah,
tonight.
I agree. It feels more of an occasion, which of course is what T20 is all about, isn't it? Now we've got what have we got here?
This is a new move. Will Jacks with his off breaks to open up. That'll be, I would have thought, the size of the boundaries again.
So no Batty. The youngster gets in ahead of him.
Well, the interesting thing is Dan Moriarty's been sort of, if a spinner's coming on first, bowling left arm spin, but here they've gone with the off spin of Jacks.
Jacks to Organ then. Jacks runs away from us down the leg side, trying to sweep that, and misses the keeper as well, Ben Folks. That's going to be wide. So the batsmen are running, goes up towards the pavilion here, just pulled back, and they've run 2 wides. And applause. You can just enjoy the applause. How we've had to work hard over the last few weeks to generate any sort of atmosphere, any sort of feeling in the game, and the crowd can do it for us again.
Absolutely, and I think for 2020 it's vital.
8 without loss. Jacks bowls, down the wicket comes Organ, gets wrapped on the pad. Allsop's halfway down, he's turning. Throw comes in at the bowler's end, it's not a good one.
Yeah, Dan Moriarty there on the edge of the circle at fine leg. Just wonder if it possibly slipped out of his hand as he was letting it go. It was a horrible piece of running from these
wasn't
two.
it? Thank goodness Allsop must be wearing spikes, because I think rubbers, he'd have slipped over and it'd been a goner. There's a sweep across the line down towards deep square leg, and sliding into that. Good piece of fielding there.
Rory Burns.
Rory Burns, yes. He's been playing Test cricket for England throughout the summer. 3 tests against West Indies, 3 against Pakistan. Now back in Surrey colours.
I quite enjoyed the interview with Afridi, in that the question was put to him. And, of course, in the Test matches, you knocked Rory Burns over 3 times. Yes. So I'm sure Rory Burns is delighted to see Afridi tonight.
Yeah, hope he wasn't watching. 10 without loss, and that's hooked away on the leg side by Felix Organ. Again, it's gone out to Burns at deep mid-wicket. It's gone more or less straight at him this time. And Hampshire move on to 11 without loss here. Organ has 6, and Tom Allsop, who's been in good form in this competition of late, he has just a single. Allsop got 51 against Sussex at Hove in a narrow loss, and 29 in the last game against Essex, and a narrow win. Field changes for the left-hander. Up at mid-on is Jamie Overton. Got to get used to Jamie Overton in a Surrey shirt now. Here's Jacks again, down the wicket. Oh, he's stumped. Stumped by a country mile. I think Jacks may have seen Allsop come down the wicket, because he just threw it a little bit wider outside the off stump. Allsop was a long way away from it, and it was a simple stumping for Ben Folks, and Allsop goes for 1.
Yeah, well, it's a good move from Surrey to get started with Will Jacks. A bit of turn there as well for Will Jacks. And Allsop was looking to go straight down the ground, and that's actually turned past his outside edge. It's a nice bit of bowling that from Will Jacks, and it's a good move from Surrey to get rid of the dangerous Allsop, who, as Kevin James said, has been in pretty good form in the competition. And 11 for 1 in the second over. Hampshire, but Will Jacks opening the bowling here for Surrey and picking up the first wicket. They've obviously had they've had a chat about it. And decided to go with Jacks, the off spinner, and it's worked there to the left-hander, spinning the ball away from him.
And that's Will Jacks' first T20 wicket.
Yeah, it is.
His 27th match.
Yep. So it was a good one.
It was. Yeah. Bit of turn. There's a little bit of nip there for Reece Tropley. Batsman might have to work hard here this evening. New batsman is the Hampshire captain, Sam Northeast, the right-hander. He's facing the next delivery from Jacks. Outside the off-stump, but he's in the air. Oh, and it's just gone past the fielder on the 45. I think that's Reece Topley down there. And it was in the air from Sam Northeast. A bit of extra bounce, wasn't there? Surprised Sam Northeast.
Yeah, it's interesting this. Jacks he's getting the ball to turn, and as you say, a bit of bounce there for him as well.
It came on to Northeast a bit quicker than he thought. Wasn't in control of the shot, but he's still there. Here's Jacks bowls again. That's down the leg side. That'll be a wide. A little bit too straight there. And again, just a sort of a hint of the ball straightening as it went past the pads of Sam Northeast. 14 for 1 Hampshire in the second over. 17 overs per side here. To a late start by an hour. Should have started at 6:30, started at 7:30. Jacks then, with his off-spin, runs away from us, outside the off-stump, and Northeast works that into the gap through mid-wicket. Comfortable single to him. He moves on to 3, 15 for 1 Hampshire. Good start here by Surrey. 2 overs gone.
Yeah, and it's a tidy first over that from Will Jacks. Gone for 10, but picked up that wicket of Allsop. And now Ben Folkes gets rid of his helmet and puts his cap on, because it'll be Reece Topley to continue down there at the pavilion end. Good crowd in tonight, 2,500 in tonight, bit of atmosphere. A very good evening as well to Mr. Tom Curran, who's listening in and watching in tonight. Good evening to Mr. Curran. Hope you are well, my friend. Lovely to have you with us. And Sam Northeast, the man on strike to Reece Topley. Rory Burns in there at slip. There's a third man, backward point, cover, mid-off, mid-on. Mid-wicket, fine leg on the edge of the circle. Overton at deep backward square. The right-handed Northeast is forward to Topley. Pops this one into the offside. Laurie Evans comes up to do the fielding. And there is no run. It looks spectacular, the ground now, with the lights on. Dark clouds everywhere. Everything lit up. This is what 2020 is about, isn't it? Under the lights. And I fully understand the reason that there hasn't been crowds, but we've really noticed it during the international games and the T20, domestic T20. As Northeast is forward, lovely shot, just pushes this one through the gap in the offside. Off goes Jamie Smith in hot pursuit and picks it up inside the boundary rope. Lovely touch shot, that from Sam Northeast. A couple of runs to Northeast, a couple more to this Hampshire total. If you're just joining us, good evening to you. We're into the third over of this one. 17 overs aside. We didn't get started till 7:30. Hampshire stuck in by Surrey, 17 for 1. Shaheen Afridi making a Hampshire debut. Jamie Overton making a Surrey debut. Felix Organ making a Hampshire debut as well. As in over the wicket comes Reece Topley. That's very short outside the off stump. Nothing given by umpire Debenham at square leg. Now he puts the signal out and no ball, because that was very, very short.
Certainly some pace in this wicket, isn't there? Sort of September skiddiness.
Well, we did have some rain, and then it took a while to get everything ready. And I just wonder if it's juiced it up a touch. He's travelling through from Topley, and that swung after it went past Sam Northeast. Topley is in once more over the wicket to Sam Northeast, who drives straight back at Topley. He does the fielding off his own bowling, and there is no run. Good looking shot just on that Surrey live stream, seeing this stumping of Allsop again, who's down the pitch. There is a bit of turn there. That's what did him. There is a little bit of turn. He was also trying to absolutely smash that out of Vauxhall. Was Allsop.
It's raining.
Oh, it is. It's raining. That is annoying. It's miserly rain. I wonder if the umpires will try and keep us out there. As Reece Topley is in to Sam Northeast, who's driving back down the pitch. This looks like a no ball from Reece Topley. Just saw the arm go out from umpire Long. What's he doing here? I'm sure I saw his arm go out, but as it is, nothing from umpire Long. I could have sworn I saw his arm go out.
Oh, he's just stretching his arms.
Stretching his arms. Topley doing a good bit of work off his own bowling there. 19 for 1 it remains.
Arrow straight this over, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quick as well from Topley. Good pace from Reece Topley. He's in again, in the mizzle to Sam Northeast, who whips him down the ground for a single. Too long on. One more to the total. One more to Sam Northeast. He moves on to 6. 20 for 1. This is a shame though. bit more rain now. It's light rain, but it is rain.
Juice up the pitch even more.
It will. At the moment, it really will.
It's going to fizz through. And it already is.
The umpires will try and keep us out there, especially with the crowd in. Waited long enough. Felix Organ, 6 not out, comes back onto strike here to Topley. Oh, and Topley, a slower one. Was that above waist high? Organ's looking to pull that. And just watching umpire Debenham says that delivery was legitimate, I think. And will that be the end of the over? The umpires are getting together about the rain, I would have thought. That is the end of the over. 3 gone, 21 for 1.
I think they should be having a debate about that full toss. I think that was, I don't know, I'd like to see that again, that's for sure. The crowd are applauding the fact that the players are staying out there. Yeah, you look at the rain in the floodlight there, and I think, I wouldn't say that's exaggerating it, but it's certainly of a nature where 4-day cricket you'd be off.
Yeah, they're going to have to come off in a sec. I hate to say it, but I think that the umpires will get together now for another natter. I think they're just signalling, yep, we're off. After 3 overs, we are off at 21 for 1. It has got a bit heavier now, you can see it absolutely coming down now. This is a shame. All that work to get us on, and now we're off again after 3 overs with Hampshire 21 for 1. Organ 7, Northeast 6. It's not heavy, but it's that horrible mizzly stuff. You can see it in the floodlights, and it's such a shame for the spectators that are inside the ground. But the big sheets will come on again, and we'll just have to hope that this is a passing shower, because we are underway. But a real pity this for everybody. And the ground staff are making sure, you can see there on the old live stream, the Surrey live stream, they're just covering up the pitch, and then the big white sheets are coming on as well. So fingers crossed this doesn't hang around for too. I have to say, the weather hasn't been kind to the old T20 so far, has it, Kevin James?
No, it hasn't. And also, I just looked at my weather app, and it's suggesting that this rain is a bit of a surprise, so hopefully it won't hang around. I tell you what's an even bigger shame is that for the first time I've seen crowds at a game this year, and yet they're all disappearing down the tunnel, obviously to keep out the wet.
Absolutely.
So
well,
they'll come back.
Yeah, well, they're going to, because obviously due to sort of social distancing, the safest place is on the outside of the bowl for them. So they're all sat outside, so they're all trying to find a bit of cover now. But yes, let's hope. Well, how long is it going to take once we do, the rain does stop, to get everything ready to go again? We saw the old rope going round and round. We might be seeing the rope going round and round again. Surrey have just stayed in the dugout down there, haven't gone back up to their dressing room. They're just staying in the dugout, and the Hampshire team are in the long room down there in the distance. But actually it looks as if it's still coming down, but it looks as if it is possibly getting a bit lighter now.
Let's hope so, because it's going to be even more calculations.
Well, you and I
5.1 power play is going to be something like a 3.8 or something. I can't get 3.8.
I quite enjoyed you and I trying to work out 17 overs, what bowlers can have what. That was magnificent from us two. Thankfully Adam at the back of the box can do maths.
Oh, he's good.
And he told us what was happening, because you and I came up with all sorts of combinations.
Oh.
At one point I almost had one bowler bowling 8 overs, I think. But yes, we got there in the end. But yeah, the 2 big white sheets out there now, as the ground staff are just trying to get the square covered as quick as they can.
Got to lose overs again, haven't we?
Well, I think we are now. We didn't start till 7:30, so we're definitely losing time now. We were on 17 overs a side anyway. It's a shame. It's a real shame, because with 2,500 spectators inside the ground who've just been waiting to see some cricket for so long, and now they've seen 3 overs, which had a bit of everything. The 3 overs, a wicket, some extras, a couple of good shots from Sam Northeast. Just seeing that 1 wicket to fall this evening on the Surrey live stream. Wheeljacks with a bit of turn, and Ben Folks doing the rest, and Allsop the man to go for one.
He had a gamble, didn't he? Tom Allsop, big gamble, wasn't it?
Well, that's what you do in T20 cricket. And this evening for him, it didn't pay off, but it will in other games. But yeah, it's definitely lightened up already, the rain. It's coming down. You can just see it in the floodlights, but it's just sort of a steady drizzle at the moment, which is very frustrating, but hopefully it'll just blow away very quickly in a minute.
It was interesting, you said earlier about finally seeing some T20 cricket and what have you, and the floodlights. Of course, we're so used to having T20 games in the evening, whereas this year they've all started, well, Hampshire's ones have started at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Again, not the norm. So not only we had no crowds, they've been starting at 2 o'clock. They've just felt so different from what we've got used to over the last few seasons, quite a few seasons.
Well, with the Bob Willis Trophy, it's just been great to have the cricket back, obviously. But 2020 needs that crowd atmosphere, doesn't it? And it needs everybody screaming and shouting when the ball goes over the boundary or the stumps get knocked out. And we haven't had any of that, unfortunately. But tonight we have had, we had live applause,
yes,
didn't we? And then we had live cheering when Allsop was out. And then we had a nice round of applause for a Sam North East shot. But now, unfortunately, with a bit of mizzle around and drizzly, mizzly rain, that everyone's sort of just finding some shelter. But it is definitely getting lighter, this rain now.
Well, we haven't experienced yet the slow hand clap.
No.
So the fact that we perhaps could have started 15 minutes earlier or what have you, none of the crowd got frustrated, which they tend to do.
Well, but I think they're probably just happy to be here.
Well,
but that could wear off, I suppose.
The wetter they get.
Kevin Howes has joined us.
Yes.
Here in the commentary
He looks
box.
quite menacing there, sitting behind us. I don't know what is he expecting something from us?
I don't think so. He was anything from us. He very much enjoyed your performance on the Surrey live stream, Kevin.
Well,
James.
that's good, because if anything, I can. If Kevin Howe's going to enjoy anything about me anymore, because he's listened to me and had to put up with me over the years, like you have. So if I can still raise an eyebrow after all this time, then I'm actually more than happy. I also raised the eyebrow from Paul Williams.
Yes.
At Solent Sport, and I know he tweeted you as well. He said, "Good work as a time filler."
Yes,
well, I mean, that's all I was, but I'm happy.
Well,
listen, I don't expect a lot in life. If I'm a time filler, I'm a time filler. I was a journeyman player, fine. I've never reached any further than that sort of level at anything.
Do not ever let anybody tell you, Kevin James, that you're a journeyman filler. That is not true. That is not true. What Kevin Howes really wanted you to do, though, and he waited and waited, but it never happened, was a little look to the camera. That's what he was waiting for, just for him.
But I'll remember next time. And in fact, what I will do when Hampshire host the games at the Ageas, not next week because it's Sussex and a certain paid TV are there, so you're not allowed to have your live stream. But the next game at the Ageas Bowl, when I'm combining the stream with the BBC website as well. I know when Kevin Howes looks next time, I might actually have a little embroidered "I love Kev" or something. Actually, I can't put that because it looks like I'm saying I love myself.
Yeah, that's
I might have to put Kev Howes, just so everybody knows.
This is still commentary on the cricket here on the BBC as well, yes, and also on the Surrey live stream. We're just discussing the wonderful performance from Mr. Kevin James, yes, we're giving him all the plaudits because he did a marvellous job. Now, there is every chance, Mr. James, that you might be out there again doing 45 minutes at this rate, because the rain's got a bit heavier now, unfortunately, everybody, which is a real shame. Real shame. And well, this genuinely was not forecast.
No,
there was talk of a bit of rain, but there wasn't talk of any rain at this point of the evening, and it's sticking around. And I'm just hoping that it disappears as quickly as possible so that we can get something in. And as I say, the Surrey players are all still just sat in the dugout waiting. The ground staff are getting all the big sheets on again out there in the middle, which that is never an optimistic sight, I have to say, when all the big white sheets are being put out right across the square.
This is not good news at all, is it?
I don't think it's terminal yet, in terms of the weather.
But we've used up, because we have an
time.
extra half hour, don't we, for these games? We've used that up. So whatever time they're off, and we've been off since just after 20 to 8. So we are sort of 10, 15 minutes sort of bracket. As the time ticks by, that's over. That's overs. We're not. There's nothing to be sort of made up here now. So we are struggling. And both these sides have already been involved in a no result. Sussex at Hove, Surrey, and Hampshire down at Canterbury against Kent. So there's already been in this early stages a no result. And I tell you what, Churchy, I'm not going to quite stick my neck out yet, but it's an option here. And we might have another no result here.
Well, I was optimistic about 10 minutes ago, but now again, it's just got heavier. That's the and the other thing is how the ground staff are putting all these sheets out, because they know what's coming. They've got one of these clever radar things that actually work, so that they've got a very good idea of what's coming. If you are just joining us, unfortunately, we're raining again here at the Kia Oval. We did get started at 7:30. Surrey winning the toss, sticking Hampshire in. 21 for 1. Hampshire after 3 overs, with Felix Organ on 7, Sam North East on 6, and the man to go, Tom Alsop, on 1. And as I say, at the moment, all we're watching are the covers out there in the middle being put down by the ground staff. Very disappointing. There's somebody down there with a very nice Surrey umbrella though in the crowd, I've just noticed. Haven't seen one of those before. They must be a new addition, but they're sat under their umbrella about 3 rows up in the 1845 stand. Everybody out in the open, socially distanced. The thing is, it's not heavy rain, it's just pretty persistent drizzle at the moment, and I don't think it'd be too much fun if you sat out there in it at the moment. But there are a few brave souls who haven't gone for cover. They've just popped up their umbrellas at the moment.
Well, they've probably missed, actually, by now, if they are regular members, they've probably missed by now not having a few days where you just sit and stare out at nothing. That's all part of the season.
Yes, but I suppose not what they want to see, but I suppose just being in the ground is something compared to what we have had. But sadly, all they're seeing at the moment is the ground staff working hard. So look, we'll leave you for the time being here on BBC London and BBC Solent, and we'll be back with you as soon as we get back out there or have any positive news for you. But at the moment, with the rain falling, 3 overs in, and Hampshire 21 for 1, we'll leave you for the time being, but we'll be back with you as soon as we have any positive news. Well, a very warm welcome back to the Kia Oval here on BBC London, BBC Radio Solent. Good news for you, everybody. We're getting underway again at 8:25. We got underway at 7:30. We had 3 overs. Hampshire stuck in by Surrey. We're 21 for 1. Then it rained again. So now we have an 11 over a side game. So to explain how that works to you, there are 2 balls left of the power play, because the power play in an 11 over a side game is 3.2 overs, and we've already had 3 overs, so 2 balls left of the power play, 11 overs a side. Whatever Hampshire get will be up to bit by Duckworth Lewis, and then Surrey will have 11 overs to chase. The man to go, Tom Alsop, stumped by Ben Folkes off the bowling of Will Jacks for 1. Felix Organ on his debut is out there at the moment with Sam Northeast. Organ has 7, Northeast has 6. Kevin James is alongside me. Thank goodness we're getting underway again, Kevin James. And 11 overs aside, I've seen a few over the years. I'm not sure I've seen 11 overs aside. I've definitely seen 5 overs. I think I've seen a 10 over. I'm not sure I've seen an 11 over aside. We did start with 17 overs aside.
Yep. It'll be fascinating to see just how different an 11 overs a side game really is.
Could be the future. You never know. It could be. We could be at the future of cricket here.
Yeah. So I make it about 42 minutes of a break that we've had between the players going off and when we're going to restart.
Well, I'm delighted for the crowd. I really am, because as we said, 2,500 in. First game they've been into, competitive game of T20 cricket. And they've waited patiently, and now they're going to get, well, I don't know what the weather's bringing. We thought we were all right when we got started at 7:30, but as it is, it then started raining. So Surrey sticking Hampshire in, and as I say, whatever Hampshire get will probably go up a bit via Duckworth Lewis, and then Surrey will have 11 overs to chase. So it's 8 overs left for Hampshire.
Yeah,
Kevin James.
And it's 21 for 1, but not really, because it's probably a few more, but we'll worry about that, won't we, at the end of 11 overs. I'm sure the crowd are thinking to themselves, same old, late start, rain, break, back on. It's like we've never been away.
Exactly. It never changes, cricket. Now, Dan Moriarty, it's your end, Mr. James, but Dan Moriarty is going to bowl, which is interesting because Jamie Overton was getting ready before the rain came. But they've had a switch, so the left arm spin of Moriarty, probably because it's been reduced. They want to get him into the attack because he's been probably their best bowler in the T20 so far, Dan Moriarty.
Played 3 T20s all this year. He's another one of these players that's getting cricket this year at the expense of overseas players not being over and what have you. So, yeah, he's played a first-class game this year as well. So just 21 years of age and left-arm spinner, and he's in now. And he bowls and has cracked away on the onside by Felix Organ. That's fielded by Jamie Overton. Almost fell over, actually, as he threw it in. Gets a warm round of applause, not only from his new teammates, but the crowd in and around him as well, away to our right. 22 for 1 then, as Sam Northeast, who resumes his innings, 6 not out. It's, just looking around, and this is the last ball of the power play, isn't it? As Moriarty bowls, and Northeast just tucks that away square on the offside, but no gap. So is that the power play over?
Power play done. 3.2 overs. So now off go the boundary riders. Look at them all go.
Oh.
Can get 5 out now, can Moriarty. So off they all go to the boundary.
There's a few scouts out there now, isn't there? 3 on the leg side and 2 on the off. So plenty of gaps for the single, unlike the 2 balls before. As Moriarty comes in again then, a little skip at the stop of his mark. It's cut away, 1 bounce, left to run hard here, although it's gone to Amla. Not the quickest of fielders these days. Hashim Amla, 37 years of age. Easy single in the end, 23 for 1. And Organ is back on strike, playing his first T20 game for Hampshire, Felix Organ. And Moriarty comes in again, and that's pulled away, but it'll fall short, or just, yes it does, falls just short at deep mid on a Will Jacks, running in off the boundary. Fortunately for Organ, he didn't get it in the middle of the bat. moves on to 9, 24 for 1.
Yeah, and we were saying that we're right slap bang in the middle of the square, so they're massive boundaries square of the wicket. So if you're going to go big, you've got to get all of it, otherwise you're in trouble.
I'm not even sure middling it is going to be enough at times. Moriarty bowls, and that's cut away by North East. Oh, a wicked bounce, but a good stop at point. Is that Reece Topley?
It is. He did pretty well there because it hit the footholds on a pitch probably 4 to the left as we look of this one, and took a horrible skip at him, but he did pretty well there, did Reece Topley. 25
for 1. This is the most used square I've seen. Looks like the season's 5 or 6 months old here. Now he's bowled. It's gone way outside off stump. Felix Organ trying to smash that away on the leg side. Left all 3 stumps showing, and Moriarty hits. Organ goes for 9. Hampshire 25 for 2.
Well, Moriarty again picked up a 3 for Canterbury. He's impressing a lot of people, is Dan Moriarty. As Kevin James was saying, jumped outside that off stump, looking to swing it leg side. Organ, nothing wrong with that in this situation from Felix Organ, but gone for 4. I wonder here, Mr. James, I suppose this favours Surrey having won the toss and stuck Hampshire in, because Hampshire walked out there thinking we've got 17 overs to bat, then it rains, now they've only got 11 overs to bat, so planning for how you're going to go about this has been nigh on impossible, hasn't it?
Well, I just hope Duckworth Lewis is sympathetic, let's put it that way. There is people with well, they have a sheet in front of them, or books, don't they? Bit like looking at pi, isn't it? To so many millions of decimal places, they'll have it all worked out at the end. But I would say Hampshire score, whatever they score, it will go up.
Yes, it will go up, definitely. As long as they don't lose too many wickets. That's the other thing here. So it's going to be Gareth Batty gets himself into the attack now. Does Gareth Batty? Everything's sort of been squashed in this game. And Batty will bowl our 5th over, coming in from the pavilion end to Sam North East, who backs away and punches out towards the sweeper on the cover boundary rope. Just keeping his footing there is Jamie Overton. It's a bit slippy, so Jamie Overton came sprinting up to do the fielding. Throw comes in 1 bounce over the top of the stumps. That takes North East on to 9. Joe Weatherly, the new batsman, out there in the middle, 26 for 2. And Weatherly right-handed. Waits for Gareth Batty, who's in to him. He's reverse sweeping straight away. He's outside the line there as that hits the pad, rolls away down towards short fine leg. Leg by will be the signal there from umpire Long. Leg by. 27 for 2.
I mean, I know this is a quick game, but it's interesting. Apart from Allsop when he ran down the wicket and was stumped, nobody's gone for the big hit yet, really. They've gone for sweeps and reverse sweeps there.
Here is North East just turning the ball into the leg side. They'll hammer the first. They'll try and come back for 2. But Laurie Evans is up to do the fielding. Well, the thing as well with the ground and these dimensions is for those boundary rider fielders is being in the right place. Because if you get it slightly wrong, they can always come back for a second. But I think Surrey have got it right so far today. As Weatherly waits, runs in the first game for Joe Weatherly. That's hitting him on that front pad again outside his off stump, looking to sweep away. That rolls out there towards extra cover, and there's no run.
Yeah, again, this sort of sweep shot, cross-batted shots being employed here quite a bit, isn't it?
Well, we haven't had a boundary yet. We're in the 5th over. Of course, Hampshire started thinking they had 17 overs. They've now only got 11. As Gareth Batty is in again over the wicket to Weatherly, and Weatherly full toss swings this one into the leg side. Now they'll look for 2. They should get 2. They will get 2, because into the corners there's a bit more space. So they're back for 2. 2 more to the total. This now is all about your angles as well. 30 for 2, and Weatherly off the mark with a couple there. But we saw it against Essex. It's finding the right angles, because you can hammer a couple as long as you get it in the right spot. And it's interesting to see where the Surrey boundary riders are. As in comes Batty again, Weatherly sweeping in front of square. Now he's looking to split the 2 men out. He split the 2 men out. That's great placement from Joe Weatherly. Laurie Evans is out there, and Gus Atkinson is out there, and he split both of them. That is our first boundary at the end of the 5th. 5 gone here on BBC London and BBC Radio Solent. And 34 for 2 Hampshire, and they have 6 overs left in this 11 over a side game.
Good shot from Joe Weatherly. He's in a bit of form in this competition. 68 off 49 against Kent at Canterbury in the rained off game there. 27 off 19 in the recent narrow win over Essex. A much improved player, not just in T20 but all round this season. 34 for 2 then at the start of the 6th over. Moriarty to continue with his left arm spinner's got that little hop, hasn't he, at the start of his run as North East cracks that away off the back foot, but straight to Reece Topley again at backward point.
It's interesting. You see certain players and you immediately think, yeah, they'll be all right in this form of the game, and he's one of them. It's just something about Moriarty that you think, yeah, he's all right in 2020.
Not bad for a 21-year-old. Comes in again. North East comes round, down the wicket, not quite to the pitch of it. Throw comes in from Topley, back to Folkes. Comfortable single, 35 for 2, and we're in the 6th over here. Cut-off time is 6 minutes to 9. Just looking at the time now. That'll soon go, especially if the ball gets hit out in the outfield a few times. Moriarty bowls, and there's the reverse sweep from Weatherly. It's in the air, and Hashim Amla's underneath it. Oh, he's dropped it. Well, it was over his shoulder. It was a difficult one, although I think he might have made it slightly difficult, and the last couple of paces didn't seem to get his body in the right position.
Yeah, I thought he had it. He sort of did everything. Got there, but it's just gone through his hands.
Yeah.
And
it was a difficult one.
It was over his shoulder, but he did all the sort of hard work, didn't he?
Got there,
but through his hands it went, and they get a couple of runs.
So Weatherly back on strike, 37 for 2. Moriarty bowls, giving himself some room there. Weatherly can't find the angle, hits it straight towards extra cover, and gets a round of applause there, Moriarty, for keeping it down to a dot ball.
Yeah, I think the other thing for Moriarty is how much sides have seen of him. They haven't seen a lot of him. That's the other thing.
Do you play for spin? Don't you play for spin? Moriarty bowls on the line, leg up, and that's hit away. It's in the air. Great catch. Oh, what a catch that is by the scoreboard here at the Oval. And I'm just looking at Sam North East. He's looking at Burns thinking, I cannot believe he's taken that. Weatherly's marching off. He's gone for 8. Well, that was worth the wait.
Wow.
37 for 3.
That is a fantastic catch, in the fact that he had a lot of ground to make. He took the catch going to his right and then started sliding, and Rory Burns' minimum of fuss has actually made a very difficult chance look very easy. And the thing he did very well there was didn't slide over the boundary rope. So that's a brilliant bit of work from Rory Burns. Weatherly's gone, and this is what's going to happen here, because Hampshire now have got a completely different equation to work with. But it's a second wicket for Dan Moriarty, so he's in amongst the wickets once again. But that was a mighty fine catch from Rory Burns. There was an awful lot going on during that catch for Rory Burns, and he managed to hang on.
Well, it was exciting because it looked at one stage as though he wasn't going to get there, and then having got there and got the slide in, you thought he's definitely going over the rope. So that's an amazing catch. One of the best catches of the T20 season so far. I've not seen them all, but I reckon,
it's up
as
there.
as an educated guess, that's up there.
Up there. Well, as I said, there was so much going on.
It was. Lewis McManus, the Hampshire wicketkeeper, is in. He's at the non-strikers end because the batsman crossed, and it's North East to face Moriarty, and North East pushing that towards extra cover, and that's a dot ball to end it. Hasn't been great for Hampshire on the restart here. 22 for 1 when it went from 17 overs as a side to 11 overs a side, and Hampshire now 37 for 3.
Yeah, and well, it's a difficult one, this. It really is, because you sort of go out there with 17 overs in your head and think, right, this is the way we can play 17 overs. Then all of a sudden you reduce to 11. Basically got no time. Just got to get on with it. And it's going to be Gareth Batty to continue. He's going to bowl our 7th over. Just seeing on the live stream that wicket of Organ, bowled by Moriarty. You can see how far he was outside that off stump of his, almost outside the crease there.
See another 3.
Absolutely.
Stumps.
So Lewis McManus, the new batsman on strike.
He's been in decent form as well.
Gareth Batty is bouncing in over the wicket to the right-handed McManus, who's forward, nudges leg side, won't get a run. Jamie Smith comes up to do the fielding. So Gareth Batty keeping it pretty tight. We've had 1 boundary so far.
I think it's going to be quite difficult tonight because, you know, a lot of option for these players is to go for the big one over mid-wicket. It's just too far.
As Batty's in, and this one a little leading edge down towards backward point. They'll get a single as McManus is trying to work that one into the leg side.
I mean, you know, you chance your arm on most grounds, you know, that heave on the leg side. And as long as you get most of the middle in it, it's going to go. But here, really, you're just setting yourself up for a catch in the deep.
North East's best option is over long off, as this is quick from Gareth Batty, turned leg side by Sam North East. And the throw comes up from Laurie Evans, one more to the total, and that will take North East on strike. By that, what I mean is his shortest boundary, and it's the same here for McManus, the shortest boundary for these two right-handers is either straight back over Gareth Batty's head or on top of their dugout.
Still a big hit.
As Batty's in, sweeping is McManus out towards deep mid-wicket. They'll take the single. That'll be one more to the total. This was exactly what Surrey used last year in the T20. They had the whole ground. They used the whole ground. 40 for 3.
I think it's quite daunting for a batsman. You know, I mean, 11 overs is nothing, is it? And I mean, that you have to be playing, to coin a phrase of my fellow commentator a few days ago, busy cricket here as a batter.
Absolutely.
Busy.
As Sam North East swings down the ground, looking to go straight down towards long on. He'll get the single down there to Will Jacks. You look at the Hampshire lineup, one name in these surroundings springs out at you: Mason Gray.
Well,
with the big boundaries, as Gareth Batty is in over the wicket once again. Reverse sweep is out from McManus, gone. Reverse swept it straight to Jamie Smith. Just trying something there, McManus. He's got to, but that time he's just hit Jamie Smith at backward point. McManus goes for 2. Hampshire have a problem now at 41 for 4, but Lewis McManus just dinking that one straight to Smith, and McManus gone for 2, and Hampshire in this 7th over, spot a bother for Hampshire, 41 for 4.
Well, it's all about momentum in T20 cricket, and Hampshire haven't got any at all at the moment, and I don't think the break has helped. Big break of 40 odd minutes, which is like starting the innings again, but only when you do start you've got no time left at all. You've got to think quickly on your feet. As I say, they've got to think busy, but it's easy to say but hard to do, to try and get some momentum into the innings. It helps with boundaries, and I just don't think that's an option. I think if you just go willy-nilly for a big shot, you're going to be out caught, because it's going to take a special shot here to go maximum. So that's not an option. One player that actually has a chance of clearing the rope is James Fuller, and he's making his way out, or has made his way out into the middle now. So we've had 7 overs, 4 to do, and Hampshire are 41 for 4. It will increase, that will get a few more because of the Duckworth-Lewis, but even so, Hampshire I think are a bit in trouble here as Moriarty bowls, and always missed it and cut that, and it nearly bowled him. Sam North East.
Well, the other thing is, being that wickets column's key for what it's going to be rounded up to as well.
True.
It's going to be absolutely key. They'll know that as well, Hampshire.
Moriarty to North East once more. Bowls. North East comes down on the wicket and works that away square on the leg side. They'll settle for a single. Rory Burns comes in off the deep square leg boundary. 42 for 4 here, Hampshire. And North East, the top scorer comfortably at the moment. He's on 14.
Yeah, and it does. The side that wins the toss here and decides to bowl, it sort of plays into your hands, because as I say, as a batting side, you've gone out thinking 17, and then all of a sudden you're back in, and suddenly it's 11.
God, in the old days, it certainly would have been a handicap, wouldn't it? That's short, and it's pulled away by Fuller, and it's in the air, but he's found the gap. And that should be 2. Jamie Overton moving to his left at deep mid-wicket. Fuller off the mark. And Hampshire 44 for 4 in the 8th of 11.
He didn't get all of it.
He didn't get hold of that, did he? Probably just as well, actually. Moriarty again then, left arm round, and Fuller on the back foot, tries to work that on the onside, can't actually, plays it back to the bowler. Good stop, dive into his right.
That's what I like about Dan Moriarty. He's got enough variations to make life very tricky.
Yeah, he's not turning it really.
No.
Not turning it at all. I think Will Jacks turned it a bit more at the start. Fired in, and it's in the air, but it's safe. It should fall just short of Rory Burns. One bounce down at deep square leg. Again, Fuller's not quite got hold of that, and probably just as well.
I think where Moriarty's impressed everybody is in that Bob Willis Trophy game, his debut, he took a 5 in the second innings against Middlesex, giving it air and getting turn. And here in the T20, he's got all the right variations for T20.
Moriarty to North East. North East on the back foot, and just steers that out into the leg side. Jamie Overton on loan from Somerset Fields, and a good round of applause for Moriarty. Get over from him. Hampshire 46 for 4 off 8, only 5 off it.
Yeah, that'll be Moriarty done, because he can have his 3. So again, he's picked up a couple of wickets in those 3 overs tonight. Very good stuff from him. And again, he's just impressed Dan Moriarty. He's a pretty simple cricketer, Dan Moriarty. He's an impressive lad when you speak to him as well for 21. He knows exactly what he's up to. Now Gus Atkinson, still haven't seen Jamie Overton yet. Gus Atkinson into the attack to bowl the 9th over. So 3 left for Hampshire. And what field's he going to have? Third man, sweeper on the cover rope, long on, deep mid-wicket, deep backward square. Hashim Amla, fine leg on the edge of the circle. That'll be an option for Sam North East. Backward point cover mid-off. So Gus Atkinson from the pavilion end comes in over the wicket to Sam North East. Shot from Sam North East. He's run this off down to third man. There is Dan Moriarty diving, doing the fielding, knocking it back to Jamie Smith, and they'll get back for 2. So good bit of work there from Dan Moriarty. Gets a live round of applause from real live people. And North East is on to 17, 48 for 4. Great to have 2,500 in tonight. Delighted that they've got to see some cricket. Absolutely wonderful. All socially distanced, all in the fresh air, all enjoying this. As over the wicket once again comes Atkinson, and this is driven high in the air out towards Jamie Smith, sweeping on the cover boundary rope. They'll pick up a single. Sam North East moves on to 18. Gus Atkinson wanders back down there to the top of his mark. Fuller comes on to strike. Took a little bit of tap in his 1 over to Canterbury. There we are on the live stream. You can see the spectators all sat socially distanced, watching away at the moment. 2,500. Lovely stuff. As Fuller then waits for Atkinson, and Fuller, they can't get any room to cut that. Just nip back at him a touch, and that'll be the 50 up with a single down towards backward point. Good bit of bowling that from Gus Atkinson. Absolutely no width there for Fuller. He moves on to 4. The 50 comes up then in the 9th over. So that's a marker for your card. 50 for 4. Hampshire. As Atkinson is into Sam North East. Slower bouncer and pulled by North East down towards long on. Just the single again. So we've only had still the 1 boundary. 51 for 4, and that was from Joe Weatherly. So that's the only boundary that we've had so far in these 9 overs. Disciplined stuff from this Surrey bowling unit at the moment. As Atkinson, right arm over the wicket, he comes to Fuller, swinging his Fuller top edge. That'll be our 2nd boundary. That flies over Ben Folkes. Nothing that he could do about that. Nothing that Gus Atkinson can do about that, and fair play to Fuller. That's what's needed by Hampshire. Doesn't matter how they get to the boundary, they need to find the boundary. Genuine top edge, flies away, and Fuller moves on to 8, and Hampshire move on to 55 for 4.
Atkinson's another one of those young players that's benefiting this season from the absence of key players.
Absolutely.
Just played the T20s and a couple of first-class matches all this year.
Got Sir Alistair Cook out. It's not a bad one.
That's a goodie.
For your back pocket. Over the wicket comes Atkinson to Fuller. Swing and a miss from Fuller. And again, that's just skidded into the gloves of Ben Folkes. End of the over, 9 gone, 2 left then. Here on BBC London, BBC Radio Solent. 55 for 4 are Hampshire, with Fuller on 8 and Sam North East on 90.
9 runs off that one from the 22-year-old. 12 balls left of the Hampshire innings. But as I say, the boundary just doesn't seem to be much of an option here. The wicket's skiddy, bit of extra pace, bit of extra bounce, and here's a man, I'm sure, that will revel in these conditions. Jamie Overton.
Nice debut for Overton, isn't it? 1 over.
Just ease yourself in,
ease
son.
yourself in with an over.
Yeah, we'll just give you an over tonight, just to sort of announce yourself to the crowd. Just take it easy. Go back in and just sort of have a lie on the couch. Then go back to Somerset in the morning.
Get to know your teammates.
Yeah. Here he comes in, running away from us. He's bowling to Sam North East. Overton's first delivery. It's a full toss, and North East cracks that out into the deep. Away to our left, they're going to run 2, as it is so far, and that's Reece Topley out there. It's almost dark where he is.
Yeah, it's slippy as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's just had a little slide there. Again, just going back to that Rory Burns catch. I think A, he did brilliantly to get to it, and then B, to not slide over the rope.
Yeah.
Was terrific thinking from him.
Well, Hampshire need to run hard here and hope for a bonus of 2 or 3 boundaries in these final 11 balls. Into the 10th over, 57 for 4. Jamie Overton bowls and follows North East, who's cracked that away behind square on the offside, and that's gone all the way. Brilliant shot. Sam North East has given himself some room. Slightly short there from Overton. North East used the pace as much as the timing, and he moves on to 25, 61 for 4.
Well, you know, Mr. James, I'm a huge fan of Sam North East, and that's why. That's just a lovely manufactured shot from Sam North East. Bit of extra pace from Overton, jumps outside the leg stump, doesn't try and hit it too hard. All about placement, that from Sam North East. And in these circumstances, this is a very good 25 runs from Sam North East.
Certainly is. Not easy out there at all. There's Overton, right arm over, comes in and bowls. It's full, and North East strikes it through extra cover. There's 4 more. Lovely shot off the back foot. Fuller this time from Overton. And North East is starting to find, well, the ball's starting to find the middle of North East's bat. He's on 29, 65 for 4.
He's just stayed on that back foot, giving himself some room, hasn't he? And absolutely larruped that through extra cover. Probably enjoying a little bit of extra pace from Jamie Overton here.
I think in a way, probably the extra pace is probably slightly easier than the spinners, but I guess Overton had to have an over somewhere along the line. 9 balls left of the Hampshire innings. Overton in again to North East. Short, and North East is trying to cut that down to third man. It's a high bounce through to Ben Folkes, but not over shoulder height.
Yeah, they've given one of those already today in our first passage of play before we came off after 3 overs. Yeah, Sam North East there, just trying to ramp that down to the third man boundary rope, but better over this for Hampshire.
Yeah.
Worth 10.
29 of 28 deliveries, Sam North East. And here he is again, facing Jamie Overton. Full, slightly slower, and it's hit into the ground. They want a single, goes through to Ben Folkes, who throws it towards the stumps. Fielded by Overton, no run.
Yeah, a bit unlucky there, Sam North East. Bottom edge, and it bounced straight to Ben Folkes. Didn't have to move Ben Folkes. Had it gone either side, I think they'd have been able to scramble a single, but it literally just went straight to him. Well, not literally, it did.
It did. North East holding the innings together here. 65 for 4, 7 balls left of the Hampshire innings. Overton is in again and bowls to North East, who hits that away on the onside. Doesn't quite get it in the middle, but they might look for 2 here. Fuller turns, he's running to the danger end. And in the end, Will Jacks running in from mid-on decides not to throw. So 2 it is. 6 balls left of the Hampshire innings. 67 for 4 after 10.
Yeah, the strange thing here is sometimes when you absolutely mistime it, it comes off better because you're able to pick up 2.
Yep.
You know, it's a natural thing to try and smack it out the ground, but actually when you dink it off the bottom of your bat, you get back for 2. So I think it's going to be Gus Atkinson to bowl our final over. So 1 bowler is allowed 3. And that 1 bowler was Dan Moriarty. And just the way this has gone, you wonder whether it'll be Mason Crane who gets the 3 for Hampshire, just with the size of these boundaries again today, but we will see. So Gus Atkinson with our final over. Fuller is the man on strike. Atkinson's in, Yorker, well bowled, right up there in the block hole. Little inside edge from Fuller, that would have hurt. I think that hit him on the ankle. So he's through for the single. Here's James Fuller.
Hope he's not wearing slippers.
Yes.
I've just had a word from the Hampshire dressing room that those Hampshire fans listening that are surprised, as I was, that George Munsey wasn't playing for Hampshire. He has a side strain, so that was the reason he's not playing this evening.
We'll get to see Mr. Afridi have a bowl soon. It's in over the wicket once again comes Atkinson. Swung down the ground by North East. Gone. Good catch. Down there at long on. It's Will Jacks down there. What he's done well is got his feet in the right place. Hasn't got a lot of room to work with. And that's a good catch down there at long on. Good innings from Sam North East. Comes to an end. He's gone for 31. and it's 68 for 5.
Yeah, good innings, super innings. He actually got hold of that as well, didn't he, Sam Northeast? He stood there. He obviously wasn't quite sure if he got enough on it. I have to say, he struck it superbly. Maybe a little bit unlucky, but a good innings. It's given Hampshire something.
They've got something to bowl at here,
Yeah.
Hampshire now. But good bowling from Gus Atkinson given this last over. Single and a wicket so far from Gus Atkinson. Ian Holland is out there now. So Ian Holland, it shows how well Sam Northeast hit it in the fact the batsman didn't cross. So Fuller's still stuck down at the non-strikers
Yes.
end.
I think he might have thought it might have gone all the way, I must admit. I think he felt that was out the middle.
It was like when you, not that I ever hit it very far off the golf tee, but you hit it and you're watching it to see where it's going. As in over the wicket goes Atkinson, and Holland, wow, what a shot this is. He's looked for the reverse paddle down towards third man. He's actually managed to somehow get that to short fine leg.
An inside edge off a reverse
Yes.
paddle. We don't say that very often.
Not very often. I doubt he could do that again if he tried. But he's picked up, he sent everybody the wrong way there. This is a wonderful shot. You'll see it again on the live stream. Here you go. Try that again. Brilliant from Holland. It does get Fuller onto strike. 69 for 5 as Atkinson's in to Fuller.
Shot!
That is flat for 6. Great shot. It's like a tennis smash that. Banged in by Atkinson, and Fuller's ducked, but then smashed it for the ace for 6. Flat. First one of the night. Fuller's on to 15. 75 for 5.
Good bit of cricket that, wasn't it? That was a good bouncer as well. And Fuller actually just took his eye off it at the end. You remember that Ian Botham hook shot for England against Australia in about 1980?
Yeah, all that Pete
Similar.
Sampras smash
Yeah.
in the Wimbledon finals. Here goes Fuller, swing and a miss. That's a good slower ball from Gus Atkinson. Good response from Gus Atkinson. Good slower ball that. And Fuller looking to go over the leg side. So 1 ball to go. 75 for 5. And Fuller and Holland get together for a bit of a natter about this.
They've got to run whatever, haven't they?
Yeah,
Have to.
basically sprint.
Sacrifice yourself if you have to.
So Fuller waits. Last ball of the innings. As over the wicket goes Atkinson to Fuller, swinging leg side. They'll come back for 2, whatever here, and they should get back for 2 because Fuller's got it into the gap. Laurie Evans does the fielding. Fuller gets back for 2. 77 for 5. That'll go up a bit on Duckworth Lewis. It'll be interesting to see what the revised target is for Surrey. But Fuller finishes on 17. Very good runs there. Holland 1. Sam Northeast making 31. So I think it will be a tough old chase this for Surrey. They're used to these conditions though. This is how they've set the ground up tonight. But a fascinating chase it will be in 11 overs. As I say, I'm trying to rack my brains to think when I've ever done an 11 over game before. I've done 5s, I've done 12s, I think I've done
It's a new book there, isn't it?
Absolutely.
There's a sequel for you.
Absolute bestseller as well, of course. It would have a bit of everything, Kevin James, as you know. But yeah, I think actually Hampshire haven't done too badly there, especially when you start thinking you've got 17 and then you end up not with 17, with 11. It changes everything, doesn't it? You basically lose 6 overs.
Yeah.
Just as you've got going.
Well, I would hope, and we'll wait for some clarification about the Duckworth Lewis, but I would hope it's at least 8 and over. So I'd hope it at least 88. It might be a few more. Hampshire have only lost 5 wickets here. I don't know whether that comes in. I don't know what I'm talking about because I really have no idea what the Duckworth.
Mark Church, Kevin James and Kevin Howes on commentary. Welcome back to the Kia Oval. If you're watching on Surrey's digital and social channels and on kiaoval.com. The England and Surrey fast bowler Liam Plunkett alongside me as Hampshire in the end made 77 for 5, and it was the spinners who did the damage. They bowled ever so well, didn't they? Particularly Dan Moriarty.
Yeah, he did. He's getting better. He bowled well in the last game, picked up wickets, and obviously bats led by example here. Dan's getting clever. He's mixing up his pace and he's picking up the wickets. But I think with the pressure that bats put on as well, they bowled nicely in tandem.
And in particular with Dan Moriarty dismissing Joe Weatherly with what a catch that was from Rory Burns out in the deep. Just you were telling us just before we came back to the 1845 stand here about actually you know, when you're not used to playing full stop, and then you're playing under lights, and it's a wet old day, that's quite difficult, isn't it, to get to catching those kind of chances?
Yeah, during the T20, I mean, it's the first one under lights. You don't get a chance to practice under lights, get used to the darkness with the ball coming out of the black sky with the floodlights in the background. It does take a little bit time to get used to. As Rory was practicing before, I don't think he got a mitt on one of the balls that went up in the air, but obviously caught a blinder there, and it was a big wicket.
And it was only a couple of balls before that we had Hashim Amla just backtracking a little bit and just going over his shoulder, and he dropped a chance. It was a difficult chance, but ultimately then we saw Joe Weatherly go off the bowling of, as you mentioned, Dan Moriarty. Gareth Batty, as always, you know, nice and economical, got a wicket as well, and a first T20 wicket for Will Jacks as well, and it was a lovely glove work too from Ben Folkes.
He looked like he started well. He also was mixing up his pace. Obviously, as an off spinner, sometimes think you're going to get targeted to the leg side. Especially, I think it was the short side by a little bit, but he kept his patience, give it some flight, and it was a good wicket. Obviously, he's getting better year by year, and obviously working with bats a little bit. Hopefully, he'll become better and become a main spinner in T20s.
What about the batting efforts of Hampshire? So it was 31 off 31 from Sam Northeast, who eventually went off the bowling of Gus Atkinson, and also vital runs from James Fuller at the end, 17 runs off 10 balls, and including the 106 of the innings. So those could prove to be vital runs for Hampshire.
Yeah, the good thing about Surrey, they kept taking wickets. It's quite hard to get obviously the partnership going, keep taking wickets, and one score, I thought you said Sam got 30. Hopefully we can have someone bat through, because I know it's short and the overs have come down, but it's still plenty of time to bat. It's a good wicket, nice outfield, and obviously with that amount of wickets in the clubhouse there, hopefully we can see this through.
Just tell us how difficult it is when you're in the dressing room. You start off with 20 overs a side, then you get a rain delay, 17 overs a side, then another rain interruption down to 11 overs a side. How does that change the decisions you have to make about how you bowl out your overs?
Yeah, obviously Toppers has started there, and I think he was bowled out. And normally he would have bowled at the death. He's one of the best in the country at doing that. Obviously Batter's experienced, he knows who can bowl, and the back Gus there to bowl. Not an easy job. I thought he bowled nicely. You're going to go over some boundaries at the end, people are swinging, but he got hit for a sixth, and then straight after ball, a slow ball, so he had confidence and backed himself to do it, and it was a good delivery.
Now, Surrey are going to have to chase down 78 off 11 overs if they're to get their first win in this 2020 Vitality Blast South Group campaign. As you would expect, Will Jacks, Hashim Amla to open, and then Laurie Evans and Ben Folkes to follow. But would you make any changes to that because of this game scenario, or do you stick with what you originally planned?
I would start with the same. Hashim's such a talented batsman, he can just play his regular strokes and he'll pick up the gaps. So maybe they'll try and bat around him. Will Jacks might come out and be more aggressive. Then you've got people to follow on for that. It's all about getting that good start, getting a bit of a platform, even though it's small. But a lot of these guys have played T10, so they're used to sort of this, the over period. But yeah, same, and then you might switch later on depending how many we need off each over towards the back end.
It's nice to have that option, isn't it? Particularly with Jamie Smith, we know, planned to bat at 6, but could come in early. As you say, we need those runs. And likewise, Jamie Overton, because he's shown both with the red ball and the white ball that he can bat. I mean, he's got his maiden first-class century recently in the Bob Willis Trophy. So it's good to have those options if you're Surrey.
I mean, that's what the best teams do. You can adapt, you've got so much strength, and you can change at will. If you've got a good, like the England team, people could bat all the way down to 11 and it can change, and that's such a good and unique thing to have in team, and that's what's so good about the Surrey team now. Hopefully we get our first win because we've got strength and depth in the batting as well.
How much of a challenge is this for Hampshire with the ball? Who would you expect to be bowling the bulk of the overs when you look at their bowling attack?
I think Mason Crane's going to bowl a few, but it depends how he starts and how we play him. Obviously they've got the strike bowlers Fuller and Holland, who's been useful this year. He's done well for Hampshire. I think they'll mix and match depending on how people perform.
What about Shaheen Afridi? Are you excited about to see how he gets on in this kind of scenario? I mean, he was saying before when we chatted to him that actually it's been a bit frustrating playing T20 and Test cricket here with Pakistan, just with the rain around. But what about this as a challenge for him?
Keep forgetting he just signed yesterday, but you would back him as your overseas strike bowler to bowl the bulk of the overs. You'd want him, maybe he might not bowl the first one, he might bowl a spinner, but you want him to get the new pill, see if it swings. But he's experienced, he's bowled a lot of overs, as many as most of us have this year. He's used to the conditions, so I'm sure he's excited to get the new ball in his hand and fly through.
How important is it that Surrey take this opportunity now? Because we saw the chance they had against Essex Eagles, they couldn't quite get over the line. Here, 78 to win, with the batting talent that there is, especially that top 6. you would back them to get there, but how important it is to get off the mark and finally get a win, because it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, it's not make or break, but you need to keep winning. You need to capitalise on these games, get a good win, get the ball rolling. So it is an important game. As I said, it's not make or break, but you need to win these games to get the confidence in the squad going forward.
Do you know what? I was just chatting with some of the other journalists just here on the 1845 stand, as we mentioned. It's this the stand that's named after the year the club was formed, and just trying to kind of get a sense of the atmosphere here. And it's nice just to have that little bit of hubbub, that little bit of fan patter. You can see them just sat there in their clusters, all socially distanced. So great to see, and we will see whether they get to cheer just a few Surrey boundaries. Hopefully, lots of 4s and 6s as Surrey try and chase 78 to win. Let's hand you back to the commentary team of Mark Church, Kevin James, and Kevin House.
You saw how, with these massive boundaries, you saw how tough it was for Hampshire to find the boundary.
Well, it is, yeah. But Hampshire, can I just remind everybody, what was the original power play?
The original power play was 5.1 overs.
So Hampshire played over half of that, thinking they had that many as a power play.
As I say, when it comes to numbers, I'm not
No.
the person to. I failed maths GCSE 11 times.
Yeah. Not me, Gov. Yeah.
No, I failed the one where the top grades you could get was a pass. I failed that 5 times.
Did you?
So I'm not a person to ask about Duckworth Lewis by any stretch of the imagination. But it does seem a little harsh.
Thank you. I guess that's all I wanted to hear, really.
Yeah, no,
I mean, it doesn't change anything, but just for somebody to own up, other than me.
Kevin James, I'm on your side here. Even I can see that even though you're 5 wickets down, off 11 overs you scored 77, when you started thinking you had 17, and your power play gets cut by 2, 3 is, if this was a shop and they handed me back my change, I'd be saying, hang on, can you redo that for me, please?
Great analogy.
Thank you.
Nothing more needs to be said on that.
Thank you.
We've all got the picture.
Thanks, Kevin House. So, out come Nigel Long and Ben Debenham. Are we going to hear from you in this second half, Mr. House?
I think we've heard quite a bit of him actually off air.
It'd be lovely but he's a busy man. So here we go then. Hashim Amla.
Can I be on with Kevin as well?
Yeah, you can come on with. Do you want to start with Kevin now? No. So out comes Hashim Amla and Will Jacks to open up for Surrey. 80 required by Surrey, and the exciting thing's going to be, it's going to be Mr. Afridi to get us started. So Shaheen Afridi has the ball down there in the distance from the pavilion end. I think Will Jacks will be the man on strike. One batsman that this size of this ground and the way they're playing this, it does slightly play into the hands too, as well as Mr. Amla, because he's a touch player like we saw from North East.
Play around him.
Well, how long did he bat for that 300 here? 11 and a half hours. So he knows the dimensions of the grounds, does Hashim Amla. But out in the middle he comes. He'll be on strike actually. So it's Amla on strike. And Amla in his first game, 75 off 56 balls with 5 4s and 2 6s against Kent at Canterbury earlier in the week. And he's taking his guard now. So Shaheen Afridi down there in the distance, getting ready to bowl his first delivery for Hampshire. Will come in left arm over the wicket, of course.
Good old domestic T20 game here. Afridi to Amla.
Excellent stuff. This is what you want. This is international T20 cricket for you once again. So Hashim Amla on strike. We've got one slip in there. Afridi then. Surrey need 80. Afridi is into Amla, and it's going zinging across Amla. Fizzes into the gloves of the keeper, McManus. And Shaheen Afridi starts with a dot ball.
He looks like he means business.
Hashim
Mr. Afridi, the way he ran in.
Well, he also looks like Hashim Amla's going to bat for 11 and a half hours, letting that one go outside his off stump.
He's playing it like a test match.
Absolutely. Why not? As he waits again, does Amla. And Afridi in his yellow shirt, getting ready to come charging in once again. Left arm over the wicket to Hashim Amla, and Amla, a little inside edge, almost back onto his stumps, and he'll get a single. So he gets away with that, does Hashim Amla. Probably a little bit of swing there, indicated by another left arm seamer. Mr. Kevin James, little bit of swing back in. Amla gets a single, he's off the mark, and Surrey needing 80 and 1 without loss.
Well, we saw Reece Topley get a couple to straighten, the left arm seamer from the far end, and Afridi doing the same there, so that's a good ball, that. Ooh,
it is.
At that pace, swinging back.
This will be interesting for Will Jacks. Afridi slingy action. Gets ready to come in once again. He's had a lot of cricket lately as Afridi. He's in now to Jacks. Jacks drive. Shot on the up through extra cover for 4. It's a lovely shot from Will Jacks. Just taken that. Basically on the up. Bang. Through extra cover and away for 4. Will Jacks is up and running with a boundary, and Surrey are 5 without loss.
Well, I tell you what, that might not have swung much, but what a shot that is. A little bit of width, actually, because he didn't swing back, so the width was there, but even so, the way he played that off the back foot, wow. Lovely piece of timing. Glorious shot.
Great shot from Will Jacks. That'll get him going. 5 without loss as Afridi is in once again to Jacks. Short one, hello. Evening, Will Jacks. Just behave yourself, young man. That's what Afridi's saying.
Play that one off the back through extra cover.
Yeah, he played that very well.
Yeah, he did.
Because that was quick from Afridi. And Will Jacks, I think, was half suspecting that could be round the corner. But as you say, basically what Mr. Afridi's saying there to Will Jacks is, you drive that one through the covers, my friend. You are a genius. As Will Jacks waits again. Afridi, little skip at the top of his mark, and then left arm over the wicket he comes. Oh, and Jacks has jumped outside his off stump, looking to ramp him. Over short fine leg, gets nothing on it. McManus moves away to his right-hand side. It's all go in this first over, isn't it?
I tell you what, it's a good plan.
Yeah, well, with
a good plan. I just think in the end the ball's a little bit too quick to execute it.
Let's be honest, if he gets anything on that, it's either going to go straight over the keeper's head for 6, or probably fly over short fine leg for 6.
It probably just followed him a bit too much as well.
Last ball of the over. I quite like 11 over cricket. As in over the wicket then comes Afridi, swinging outside the off stump. Wide's the signal. Will Jacks looking to go after that one, but umpire Nigel Long signals wide, so that'll be 1 more to the total, and the extra delivery. It's quick from Afridi.
He is running in, isn't he? He really is picking up his feet here, picking up the knees. I have to say, I'm impressed with that.
It's like you.
Well,
in your heyday.
Has
he taken 4 in 4 against India? I wonder, Mr. Afridi. Not as yet. He may do one day, of course. As Will Jacks waits again. Settles himself down over his bat once more as Afridi charging in. Over the wicket to Jacks. Jacks forward. Digs this one up towards mid-off. Quick single from Will Jacks. Just had to make sure he got home as Mason Crane was quickly round to do the fielding. It's the end of the first over. It's an interesting one. Surrey chasing 80 here on BBC London and BBC Radio Solent. 7 without loss. Amla 1. Will Jacks has 5.
Gosh, if the next 10 overs are like that,
I'm all for 11 over cricket.
You are? No, there is a sequel to your original book. Have you sort of plugged your book recently?
Not really. There's still a few around.
Are there?
Yes, somewhere inside this ground. There's about 25 boxes of them somewhere. Yes.
What was it called again?
Typical Surrey.
Yeah, that's about right, isn't it?
Typical.
I think one of my most recent texts to you yesterday, I think, had that Surrey. Typical phrase. That phrase.
Yeah.
So Chris Wood, we've got 2 left armers on for Hampshire. We've got another one here in Chris Wood's been bowling well in this competition. Been bowling a few of the important overs as well. He's bowling to Jacks. It's a length ball and Jacks works that away on the onside. There could be at least 2 here if Amla's up to it. He is. That's Mason Crane out at deep mid-wicket who had to run to his left.
Yeah, it's a good placement from Will Jacks, isn't it?
Nice piece of timing as well. Didn't try and hit it too hard. And Jacks moves on to 7. Amla has 1. 9 without loss. Remember, the Surrey target is 80 after Hampshire hit 77 for 5 off 11 overs. Wood runs away from us and bowls to Jacks once more. Length ball. Jacks is running. Just pushed out on square on the offside. Amla accepts the call. And Tom Alsop had probably a bit too much to do there. I thought initially, actually, when Jacks pushed it out there, I didn't think Amla was going.
Chris Wood's always been a great performer in T20, hasn't he?
Always bowls, always up for bowling the big overs, and he's done well this year actually. You know, sometimes it doesn't, you know, it's not quite right. It just depends on the batter and the occasion. But I have to say this year he's done well in a couple of tight games. It's Amla back on strike then as Wood bowls, and that's full. And Amla drives up to mid-off. He was off like a whippet there, and that's a good single. Ian Holland at mid-off.
Yeah, I'd say Wood does Dernbach.
Yeah.
What Dernbach never hides from the dangerous overs. And that's up top and at the end. And that's exactly what Wood does. And more often than not, it comes off. The thing is, if you take on the dangerous overs, when it doesn't work, that's when you get hammered.
Yeah.
And people tend to remember that. But like Dernbach, Wood never steps away from the dangerous stuff.
Wood into Jacks. And Jacks drives that through extra cover. Good stop. That looked like that was going for runs, and a good diving stop to his right by Sam Northeast. Keeps the score at 11 without loss. Surrey needs 69 from here, and we are in over number 2 of 11. Don't think we're getting any more rain. We were surprised actually when we got rain for a second time. Don't think we're getting any more now. As Wood runs in again and bowls, and that's on the line of middle and leg, and Jacks just pushes that up to mid-on, fielded by Fuller, who's right back on the 30-yard circle. Giving the batsman a single there.
Tom Curran's another one who was listening in earlier. Tom might still be listening and watching now, but Tom as well doesn't hide away, does the dangerous stuff. You know, they're the horrible overs to bowl, aren't they?
Oh.
And these guys don't shirk away from that responsibility.
No, there's a few that do around, that's for sure. As Wood bowls, and Amla just works that away square on the leg side. They just jog through for a single. Ryan Stevenson comes in off the deep square leg boundary away to our right. That's the end of the over. 2 overs gone here at the Oval. And Surrey are 13 without loss. Jacks has 9, Amla has 3.
Yeah, and that target, revised target, just a reminder, 80 is the revised target for Surrey. And it looks like Afridi's going to get another one. So Sam Northeast is going to give Afridi 2 to start with. He can have one bowler bowling 3. Sam Northeast. Crowd, well, absolutely mesmerised by this, I would have thought, having not seen any live cricket for a while. Absolutely mesmerised. I hope for them we get a tight finish. I really do. Hashim Amla is on strike here to Afridi. This will be good again. 13 without loss. Afridi is in to Amla. Short, quick, and Amla sways inside it. And that's taken by McManus. This will be nice for McManus as well, keeping to Afridi.
Yeah, well, it's pacey. That is pacey. I mean, Fuller's just about the quickest of the Hampshire attack these days, but that's quick.
Yeah.
And Amla played that well, kept his hands down below the line of the ball.
He's playing it like a test match.
He is, yeah.
But
he's batting the 11 overs, isn't he?
He certainly is. As Amla waits again. Afridi into him, and Amla, shot inside out, over extra cover, 1 bounce, 2 bounces and away for 4. Typical Amla shot that. Just that quick bottom hand, opening up that offside. Made a lovely noise off the bat. And as I say, in these situations, it sort of suits Amla this. And that's just a very nicely manufactured cricket shot from Hashim Amla. And he moves on to 7, and Surrey move on to 17 without loss.
Just when you think he might just dab it into a gap for a single, out comes a shot like that.
And that's just pure timing, isn't it, from Hashim Amla. Trying to smack it out the ground. Waits again, does Amla. Round the wicket now comes Afridi, and this is Amla on driving, and that's away for 4 more. That is a gorgeous shot as well from Hashim Amla. Again, pure timing from Hashim Amla, and that has whistled away down to the boundary rope for 4 more. Ryan Stevenson did his best to get across to that, but again, it's pure timing that from Amla, using the pace of Afridi and away for back-to-back boundaries. And let's be honest, that shot, it would have looked very nice in a test match to get started. And Amla's on to 11, and it's 21 without loss.
And the swing's gone for Afridi now, but Amla's timed it as well as anybody, and with a minimum of effort.
Yeah, that is the thing with him, as Afridi's round the wicket, and Amla looking to force off the back foot, little inside edge onto his front pad, rolls away into the offside, and there's no run. I had visions before Mr. Morkel got injured. I had visions of him from a social distance doing some underarms to Hashim Amla in his hallway, because he's had no cricket at all, but he walked straight out at Canterbury and first ball just drove it straight through extra cover for 4. Quick single taken on the Surrey live stream there by Will Jackson, slow motion. Funny seeing a quick single in slow motion. 21 without loss, Surrey. 80 the target as Afridi left arm round the wicket to Amla, and Amla, that nips back at him. He's taking on the single, Amla. Oh, and if that had hit, he may have been in trouble, but Stevenson dived, let go of the ball. But Amla scrambles one. Amla's on to 12, 22 without loss.
Well, not only is he a mighty fine player, but he's a fantastic judge of a single, because Ryan Stevenson is by no means on the 30-yard circle at mid-on. He's a lot closer than that, and yet even Stevenson couldn't cut that one off, and it was straight at him.
Went straight away, did Amla. Last ball of this, the third over. Surrey 22 without loss. And it's Will Jacks on strike to Afridi. Afridi's in, and Jacks goes inside out, over extra cover, and away for 4. So it's a good over that for Surrey. Afridi a little kick of the turf in frustration. And Will Jacks moves on to 13. Amla's 12, 3 gone. And Surrey are 26 without loss. And just seeing that shot again, it was the length really as much as anything from Afridi, and checked it over extra cover for 4 runs. 26 without loss. Surrey after 3, so a pretty solid start this for Surrey in pursuit of 80.
Well, Hampshire had 21 after 3.
Then
And of course they were batting thinking it was 17 overs a side. So Surrey have got away to a good start, but they're by no means out of sight. They need another 54, and medium pacer Ian Holland is coming to the attack, taking over from Chris Wood. His first over went for 6. Afridi's 2 overs have gone for 20. 26 without loss, Surrey here. And Ian Holland is going to try and put the brakes on here at the oval. Just a ring of fielders on the offside. 5 men all on the 30-yard circle away to our left.
2 balls left of the power play.
So a deep mid-wicket and a deep mid-on, the 2 fielders out. Holland right arm over, comes and bowls, and Amla drives and can't quite pierce the field on the offside. Just a single. Amla moves on to 12. 13, sorry.
Beautifully against Surrey at Arundel, didn't he? This is all a bit different, obviously, but
get 5 for, was it? 5 or 6 for? Yeah.
6 for, I think.
It might have. It's nibbled around a little bit at Arundel. Rain around there as well, of course. Had a bit of rain the last 2 or 3 weeks, which has been affecting a few games. Both these sides have had a rained-off game already. As Holland comes in and bowls to Will Jacks this time, short, and Jacks just pulls that away, gets a bottom edge. It was a slower short ball there from Ian Holland. Jacks was just waiting for the ball to arrive.
Just looking at Mason Crane's getting warmed up.
Yeah, he's got to come on soon, isn't he? I think he'll be coming on for Afridi. Has to, otherwise the game's all over. Can't hang around.
No, not in 11 over cricket. No. That's the byline for it, Kevin James. You can't hang around.
No. 11
overs.
That's right. You've got lots of words for that book.
I'll tell you what, you're giving me something to do over the winter.
Oh. You always like a project in the winter, don't you?
Yeah.
Bit of running. Just a little bit, eh?
Yeah. Might have to combine the two, this one.
28 without loss then. Keeper Lewis McManus standing up as Amla faces Ian Holland. Holland comes in, it's full, and Amla drives out on the onside, and that'll be just a single. As Ryan Stevenson comes in once more from that deep square leg boundary. And the Surrey total moves on to 29 without loss. They need 52.
Just on the Surrey live stream at the moment, we're seeing that on drive from Amla in slow-mo. Oh, that's lovely, isn't it? I wouldn't mind that on loop, actually.
Or on your phone.
Yeah.
Here's Holland again, and Jacks just pushes that out, square on the offside. Good bit of fielding there from Tom Alsop, although it's on his wrong side. Needs it on his left hand to get it in quickly. It was to his right. 30 without loss, Surrey. We are in the 4th over here of 11.
Yeah, and at the moment these two are just sort of quite happily knocking the ball around.
They are. Momentum. They've got momentum, haven't they, these two? Haven't lost a wicket. Holland comes in again, and Amla just works that down the ground once more. Fuller comes across from mid-on. We'll come back for 2. Throw comes in, and it's allowed by Ian Holland to go through to the keeper, but Amla's just about keeping up with Will Jacks. I think I'd back Jacks over sort of 20 yards normally, but Amla's doing all right here, the 37-year-old.
Yeah, he did well on Sunday because he batted until, I think it was around about the 18th over. He was eventually run out, I think, because he just ran out of gas, basically.
Here's Holland to Amla once more, and it's full. And Amla drives, misses. Taken by Lewis Morales, although not cleanly. End of the over. 32 without loss, 4 gone, 7 to do.
Yeah, and I think Mason Crane will come into the attack now with his leggies. Down there in the distance, Mason Crane's taking off his sweater and handing his cap in. And he's coming into this with some form. 4 overs, no mains, 3 for 18 against Essex in that Hampshire win, and that's against a very good Essex batting lineup. So a chat between Will Jacks and Hashim Amla, and Mason Crane into the attack from the pavilion end to bowl the 5th over. And the field long on, deep mid-wicket, deep backward square, fine leg on the edge of the circle, backward point, 3rd man on the edge of the circle, sweeper on the cover of a rope, a long off and a cover, extra cover in fact, is Sam North East. So Will Jacks will be on strike, 32 without loss. Mason Crane is just getting his 3rd man Holland a little straighter as Crane is in, and here goes Jacks straight away, slog sweeping, 1 bounce for 4. So Jacks making his intentions plain straight away and splitting the 2 back. He's going against the spin there is Will Jacks, but splitting the 2 back on the leg side boundary rope, and Jacks gets that runs required down to 44 now, 36 without loss.
Just fetched from a fraction outside off stump. It's the right length to do it.
What was that thing you used to do at school where you to make
Learn?
a straight line you had a compass, didn't you, and you used to put one little sort of semicircle and then another semicircle.
Yeah.
That used to be, well, that was exactly like that shot from Will Jacks. Absolutely split the 2 men perfectly, straight down the middle. 36 without loss as Mason Crane is in over the wicket to Jacks, who's sweeping again. This one's out towards deep backward square. He almost let go of the bat there, I think, Will Jacks. He'll move on to 20. And Surrey move on to 37 without loss. 43 more runs required by Surrey, and Hashim Amla coming on to strike on 16. Mason Crane is in to Amla, and Amla will just tuck this into the leg. So now they'll think about 2 again. This is all about the angle and the placement. Oh, they're not going to come back for the second. Amla was a little slow turning there for the second run, and Will Jacks very sensibly sent him back because Alsop had let the ball go. But I think the intention's there from Hashim Amla.
Yeah.
But I think at times, possibly, yes. And that one he wasn't coming back for. As Mason Crane is in, and this is turned leg side again by Jacks. Just be happy to take a single. That boundary off the first ball relieves the pressure and enables them just to knock it around the touch now. They're up with where they need to be at the moment, Surrey.
They've got the momentum here, Surrey. Hampshire never really had it.
39 without loss. As Amla's back on strike, Mason Crane's into him, and Amla, oh, that's a good one. That's genuinely beaten Amla with turn and bounce from Mason Crane, and Amla just nods down to Mason Crane. That is an absolute beauty. Save those up for the 4-day stuff.
Amla just gave him a little nod as well.
He did. As Crane's in again, and Amla drives, shots her through extra cover for 4. Wonderful bit of batting that from Hashim Amla. Inside out again, straight through extra cover and straight through the gate down there as well. So that the ball's gone onto the concourse, but that is a gorgeous cricket shot again from Hashim Amla. He moves on to 21. Jacks has 21. Surrey are coasting, you have to say, at the moment. 5 gone, Surrey 6 left. They need a further 37 runs from 6 overs, Kevin James.
Yeah, and Surrey 13 ahead at the same stage after 5 overs. Momentum with them. If I remember rightly, I think Afridi bowled Amla a decent ball, didn't he? Where Amla just dropped the hands because the ball really raced through off a length. The next ball went for 4. Mason Crane's bowled him a decent ball, beat the outside edge. Next ball, gone for 4. Yeah. Hardly coincidence, is it?
That delivery, the thing I liked about that was there was the nod of respect, and then bang,
and
through
then the
extra
kill.
cover.
Here's Holland with his second over. First over went for 6 as that's turned away on the onside by Jacks, but Amla's just jogged through. One thing you can say about Amla, actually, to be fair, he's a few yards down the pitch by the time the ball has left the bat. In this instance, of course, it's Will Jacks. So he might be jogging through, but he's already a third of the way down. So he ain't got much to do, to be fair to him. So he is conserving energy out there, which is a bit of a worry for Hampshire. 44 without loss. Surrey need 36. As Holland comes in again and bowls to Amla. Amla's cutting and missing. Taken by McManus behind the stumps.
Yeah, nicely taken by Lewis McManus behind the stumps. Hashim Amla again. It's that bottom hand, isn't it, that just comes in at the last possible moment. He's just trying to steer that between the backward point and third man on the edge of the circle.
Amla has 21 of 17 with 3 boundaries. Facing Holland once more. Runs away from us. It's full. It's a leading edge and it's into the gap in the covers. A little bit lucky on that occasion. Probably the first mistake Amla's made. But he'll get a single anyway for his trouble. Moves on to 22. That's the same score that Will Jacks has. So we move on to 45 without loss.
Very good evening as well. Tom Curran listening in and watching in. Very good evening, Sam Curran as well. Watching in and listening in this evening. Hope all's well, young Sam.
Your side is okay at the moment. As Holland comes in again and bowls to Will Jacks. And Jacks works that good length delivery up to mid-on. Again, they're settling for a single as Fuller comes in off the deep mid-on boundary. 46 without loss, so he needs 34.
Yeah, Sam's another one that does those dirty overs, those dangerous overs in one-day cricket. Never hides away from it. Always puts his hand up if needed. Same with Wood, same with Dernbach, same with Tom Curran. Yep. They're the blokes that earn their money in this one-day stuff. In the
Certainly
2020.
Are. Some days it doesn't go your way, but more often than not, if you take it on, it will. As Holland comes in and bowls to Amla. Amla drives, half stop by Holland, almost goes and hits the stumps at the bowler's end. I think Will Jacks might have been out of his crease. And Holland just runs back to pick the ball up.
I wonder if that is a minuscule chance to Holland. I think he may have hit this straight back at him on the full. He has. Yeah, if he'd hung on to that, what a grab that would have been.
Jacks was a yard out. 47 without loss. Here's Holland to Will Jacks. And Jacks cuts that away, but well stopped on the 45 by Tom Alsop. End of the over. 6 done. 5 to do here at the Oval. And Surrey going along nicely at 47 without loss.
Terrific over that.
Leading another 33.
Yeah, terrific over that. Just the 4 off it from Holland. So
2 overs for 10.
Very good over that from Holland. But at the moment, Surrey are in control of this with Jackson and Amla. Strange things can happen in 11 over cricket, he says, having never seen an 11 over game of cricket, I don't think, in my life. But you know, if you're Surrey at the moment, you just feel, yes, we're in a pretty good place at the moment.
Yeah,
we've got the 2 in there at the moment who are doing a pretty good job. Umpires are together having a chat about something. And a very good evening as well to Gareth Townsend, Academy Director at Surrey, who one of the best in the business, also known to his friends as the Dream Maker. So good evening to you, Gareth. Hope you're well, sir. He's watching and listening in at the moment. He's the Dream Maker. He's asked me to say that, but no, he is. Now, Felix Organ into the attack down there at the pavilion end. 47 without loss. Amla 23, Jacks 23, so they're matching each other run for run. Sam Northeast taking his time about this with Organ to set the field. There's long off, there's long on, there's sweeper on the cover boundary rope, there's extra cover, third man on the edge, fine legs on the edge, deep backward square and a deep mid wicket at the moment for Felix Organ coming in round the wicket, and that's flattened down the leg side, and this will be wide signalled. Bowling is off ease, but that's flattened down the leg side from Felix Organ, and that's a wide signalled. 48 without loss. Amla waits again. Organ is in. Amla's reverse sweeping will get a single down to Holland. 1 more to the total.
Tony Cox has just tweeted me at Sun Sport. He says, I'm puzzled to the whereabouts of Russo, Abbott and Vince. Vince is still waiting for his 2nd child to be born, so he's missing a little bit at the moment. Abbott can't get over from South Africa, and so he's not coming now. Russo's sort of similar. Surrey have Morkel. I understand he's gone back, hasn't he? Morning.
Yeah, I think he has now. Yeah. Trod on a ball, poor chap. As round the wicket comes Organ, and this one's tucked away by Jacks. Did a McGrath down towards long on, and that'll be the 50 up for Surrey. So a ripple of applause, live applause here at the Kier Oval. Real people inside the ground, properly applauding, using their hands and everything. 50 without loss. 30 required.
Have you missed the crowd or something?
Sir, I have in 2020, genuinely, as Organ is in, and this is, well, reverse pull standing up straight from Hashim Amla, just for a single, mind. But all he's done there is just stood up straight and reverse pulled it for a single. 51 without loss, but there are the real crowd on the live stream.
The thing is, we can't see most of them because of this end of the ground.
Yes. Organ's in again. Here goes Jacks. Down the ground, hasn't got any of this. One bounce down towards long on. So just a single from Will Jacks. He moves on to 25.
To be honest, as we look straight ahead of us, to me it still looks like similar where there's nobody in. But if you look hard to our left and hard to our right, then you see the crowd.
Yeah, everybody out in the open as well. That's the thing. As Organ's in. Amla inside out over extra cover. Hasn't really got much of this, but will get two. So Hashim Amla back for the second eventually. And two more to the total. Two more to Hashim Amla. He moves on to 27, 54 without loss. Just might need to get some more petrol in the tank.
Yeah.
Hashim Amla here.
The throws are coming in at his end quite regularly.
Absolutely. As Amla waits again. Organ's in. And Amla looking to smack this off the back foot. Doesn't time it at all. It rolls into extra cover, but it's another over where Surrey are up with where they need to be. And 7 gone, 54 without loss, Surrey. So they have 4 overs left to get 26.
Yeah, at the same stage, Hampshire had 41, so Surrey well ahead. And of course, the Hampshire total of 77 for 5 off 11 overs was only rounded up to 79. So Surrey are well ahead in every department. Momentum, both these players playing well. And Hampshire need to be careful here because they could get beaten out of sight.
Martin Oakley, former of this parish, absolutely wonderful gentleman, saying, I can't quite tell, Mark Church, are the people in the Kier Oval this evening, they're in real life? They are. It's proper people, Martin Oakley. This isn't cardboard cutouts, my friend. This is proper people doing proper clapping, live. You haven't heard it this season.
And they got wet thrown in as well.
And they got a bit wet.
They've had everything
had to have
tonight.
a bit of rain.
Yeah, they've had everything tonight, haven't they? Wait 4 months and...
Bit of everything, really. Lovely.
Burger vans are open and everything like that. So it's the full experience in such a short game.
It's 11 over cricket, my friend.
Yeah, it is.
It's the way forward.
And you love it. Yes. Here's Afridi switching ends then. Left arm over and bowls. It's 4. The Amla goes high.
Well,
high? Is it too high? I don't think it is. Oh, and it plugs. Plugs about 3 or 4 inches inside the rope at deep mid-off. And they've run 3.
That is a ridiculous shot from Will Jacks.
Well,
that honestly...
Was it Will Jacks? Sorry.
Yeah, but that has gone... Well, that's got ice on it when it came down. It's plugged to within 2 foot of the bound of the hole.
Perfect pitch shot.
He's got a 3-inch putt for par there. Yep. That went miles up.
56 without loss then. Jacks has 27. As Afridi comes in again, runs away from us, and Jacks works that on the onside. Chris Wood comes in off the mid-on boundary.
That's
keeps it down to a single.
That's the other thing I've missed, is crowd saying that was 4. It wasn't 4, but I missed the crowd saying 4. It wasn't 4, but I've missed the crowd saying things like that.
You know, in athletics, when you throw the hammer and it just plugs and a hole. If I look down, I reckon I can see the hole where the ball pitched
Replace your
and
divots.
Just stopped.
Replace your... Oh, you can, yes. Replace your divot. It wasn't 4.
No.
But I have missed the crowd saying it should. But yeah.
Here's Afridi. Shorts, and that's just angled down to third man. It's almost carried. Almost. Not quite. Tom Alsop runs in and lets the ball hit his chest. Realised he couldn't quite get there on the 4, but it was good effort anyway. And Amla was just helping it down there, opening the face of the bat. Just a little ramp, isn't it? There's the bat, there's the ball. Just let it go off.
Yeah. And he did pretty well down there, actually.
Oh, didn't he just?
On the half volley. Never easy.
58 without loss then, Surrey. 22 needed. We're halfway through the 8th of 11. Afridi switching to round the wicket this time. Bowling to Will Jacks. Jacks gives himself some room and eases that over extra cover. And that's one bounce for 4. That is 4. Crowd over there to our left.
I'm sorry, I've just made a noise that I shouldn't make at cricket, but that is a hell of a shot from Will. I've just seen it again on the replay. That's gorgeous from Will Jacks. Off the back foot, and he has just gone over extra cover. That's a naughty shot, isn't it, from Will Jacks?
Glorious timing.
Against Afridi, that is a naughty, naughty shot from Will Jacks.
18 needed. Jacks 32 off 22. Facing Afridi, who's certainly knows he's been in a game this evening. That's full, and that's worked towards mid-wicket by Will Jacks off the bottom of the bat. His hand as well a little bit there, as he just gave it a little bit of a shake as he completed that single. 63 without loss. Surrey needs 17. Afridi has conceded 29, and he's still got another ball left of his 3rd.
Yeah, I could watch that Will Jacks shot again and
you could,
again.
couldn't you? It's another shot that'll be on your phone. There's a few on it. Afridi's round the wicket again to Amla, down the leg side and whipped away. Now it's going very quickly down to fine leg. Bit of a worrying time at the moment for the fielder down that far end. I can't quite work out who that is down there. Might be Mason Crane. 64 without loss, end of the over. That's 8 gone now. And Surrey, as I say, 64 without loss, 10 off it.
Yeah, and again, they're just up with where they need to be at the moment. Doing this very well, these two, Amla and Jacks.
Making it look very easy.
Well, they are, and you can only do what's put in front of you, really. And they're doing it very nicely at the moment. 3 overs left then, 16 required by Surrey. Hashim Amla will be on strike. It'll be Mason Crane from the pavilion end. So there was that 1 over from Organ. And now Mason Crane back into the attack. Aeroplane flying overhead in the sky. In the night sky as Mason Crane comes into Hashim Amla, who's forward, dabs this one down towards backward point, and there's no run.
It's probably not my place, but can I just say that James Vince has just become a father for the second time. He's had a baby boy.
That's the best bit of news tonight. Whatever happens in this game, congratulations. That's great news, isn't it? As over the wicket once again is Mason Crane. Now what's this? Bold, I think. Looking for the reverse sweep there was Hashim Amla. Got blindsided by Lewis McManus. And Hashim Amla goes. He walked off straight away. But Hashim Amla gone for 29. Looking to reverse sweep. And Hashim Amla on his way. But he's done the job tonight for Surrey. And Surrey are 64 for 1.
Just clip the top of off stump. Just enough to knock the bails. But what an innings from Hashim Amla. 29, and that came off 27 deliveries.
Yeah, and sort of just used all his experience, really, didn't he, Hashim Amla? No panic there, just knocked the ball around. Couple of lovely shots over the infield. Well bowled Mason Crane. But Hashim Amla makes his way off, and out comes Laurie Evans under the lights. Hasn't really made an impact yet in the T20. Well, at some point, Laurie Evans, because he's a wonderful T20 player. And he comes out with 16 required.
It's an interesting situation because he was on loan for the Bob Willis Trophy, wasn't he, for a week or something like that? And,
and then
now he's on loan for this.
He signed a 2-year deal.
Oh, he has.
He can play everyone bar Sussex.
Right.
As Mason Crane is in, and Laurie Evans is looking to whip leg side. It hits his pad. McManus has lost that behind the stumps as well. That rolls away into the leg side and there's no run. So couldn't play the game at Sussex in the T20,
right,
and can't play in the Bob Willis Trophy game against Sussex. That was part of the deal really for the rest of this season, and then starts his 2-year contract at the beginning of next year. As the right-handed Evans waits again as Mason Crane is in, and Evans goes inside out over the covers. Has he got enough on this? No, 1 bounce out towards the sweeper on the cover boundary rope. And Laurie Evans is off the mark. Not going to take too much time to get his eye in here. Laurie Evans straight away looking to go over the top to Mason Crane. Evans off the mark with a single. Yes, congratulations to the Vinces. Terrific news. That really is. As Over the wicket comes Crane, then to Jacks, who sweeps off the stumps. Will get a single. Out towards deep backward square as the throw comes in. One bounce over the top of the stumps. And one more to the total. 14 required by Surrey in the 9th of their 11 overs. 11 overs, 1 ball to go of this, the 9th. Mason Crane is in again to Evans, and Evans sweeping, and that's beating the edge, and it's picked up by McManus, and then the throw at the stumps from McManus. Now, I just wonder there, Laurie Evans was scrambling, and whoever it was who came sprinting across, I think it's Weatherly, may have got a hand on that and deflected it away from the stumps. Otherwise, I think Laurie Evans could have been trouble for the run out. As it is, after all that excitement, everybody, just another single. There are 2 overs left, 13 more needed by Surrey. Mason Crane with the wicket of Hashim Amla, and Surrey are 67 for 1.
Just watching the dismissal of Hashim Amla now.
Yeah, just clipping the top of that
Did it, or was it a stumping?
Either way, he's out. I wasn't quite sure at the time. But Hashim Amla just walked straight off, which made me think he thought it was bowled.
He's been caught. He's been given caught by Lewis McManus, actually, officially. So apologies for that. It could have been stumped, could have been bowled. He's actually out caught behind. Good piece of keeping. Here's Chris Wood back into the attack then. And that's just guided down to third man by Laurie Evans for a single. 11 balls left in this game, potentially. And Surrey need 12.
Yeah, just a bit of glove on it then.
Yeah.
And then McManus took the bails off for good measure.
Yeah.
That was a good bit of work from McManus. Yeah, and that's why I thought he was walking, because he knew he was bowled. But as it is, he's walking because he knows he's gloved it.
Hats off to Amla, because that wouldn't have been much of a nick.
No.
Probably off the gloves. I think 1 or 2 batsmen might have stayed there and got away with it. But here's Wood again. That's wide outside the off stump. That may be called a wide here. No. So that is a dot ball right on the border of being a wide and being legitimate. On that occasion, Wood is okay. 10 balls left and 12 needed.
Yeah.
It's quite all over yet.
Not at all.
But Will Jacks has played very nicely for his 34. Faces Wood again. Who bowls it straight, and that's hit away on the onside. Hasn't really got hold of that. Ball goes high in the air. Bounces short of Ryan Stevenson, who makes sure he gathers it cleanly. And just a single. 9 balls left, 11 needed.
Yeah, interesting this now. A boundary here changes everything, but if Wood, as we said, he does the dirty overs and get out of this with I don't know, 3 singles, just puts a bit of pressure on that last over.
Here comes Wood again, and that's swung away. It should only be a single up to James Fuller. Evans will move on to 3. Good bowling here. It's keeping the pressure on. 8 balls left and 10 needed. Hampshire have already been involved in 2 games that have gone to the penultimate ball. 1 in their favour and 1 against. You guys have already had a tie. So this might yet be very close indeed. That's full, and that's worked on the onside by Will Jacks. Now he's run the first one quickly. I think they'll get 2. I think there's too much there for James Fuller to do at deep mid-on. There is. Good running. I think there was always 2.
Who will bowl the last over? Kevin James?
That is a very good question.
Afridi's had his 3.
Yeah.
Crane's had his 2. I wonder who bowls the last one for Hampshire.
Is that going through Sam Northeast's mind right now? I must admit, I don't know. 8 needed off 7. Here's Wood again. It's a low full toss. Jacks hasn't really got hold of that, but again, they might look for 2. Again, Fuller's having to move to his right as well as forward. And it's a good running again. 2 valuable runs. That last ball of the 10th over. So 6 balls are left and 6 are needed. A run a ball. You'd think Surrey are favourites from here. But a good start from whoever it is that bowls the last over and might yet put Surrey under pressure. It's going to be Ryan Stevenson.
Yeah, hasn't bowled an over yet. And he gets the last one. Ryan
Poor
Stevenson trying to defend 6. So this will be tough. But he gets 6 required by Surrey. Now, the other thing to remember is Surrey haven't won a game this season. And they're 6 away from winning this one. But it's the last over. anything could happen in this form of the game. And by that I mean 2020, even though we've only got an 11 over a side game.
Well, if Surrey can win this, they'll move ahead of Hampshire. Hampshire currently sit third.
But it's so tight in that South.
Yeah, it's still early days, isn't it?
Very early, and we've had a bit of rain about. So Sam North East quite rightly taking his time over this with Stevenson. Won't take too long.
Well, they've got about a minute or two to start this last over, so they have to be careful.
So they've got long off, long on, deep mid-wicket, deep backward square, fine leg on the edge of the circle, backward point, third man on the edge of the circle, sweeper on the cover rope. Ryan Stevenson with his first over, and it's the last one of the game. 6 needed by Surrey, and Laurie Evans is the man on strike, and Evans cuts firmly out towards the sweeper on the cover rope. That's 5 needed off 5 now by Surrey. So 5 needed off 5 deliveries by Surrey, and Will Jacks gets on to strike. Jacks has 39 to his name.
Surrey don't dare fall short here. They've only lost 1 wicket.
Yes, absolutely.
It would look a bit odd, wouldn't it, in the scorebook?
Stevenson is in. Over the wicket to Will Jacks. Jacks, swing and a miss. Oh, hello. So Will Jacks, swing and a miss. 5 needed off 4 deliveries. So anything could happen in the last over. Fair play to Ryan Stevenson. He's gone single dot. Surrey need 80. They're on 75. 5 required off 4 balls by Surrey. Jacks waits again. Stevenson is into Will. Jacks swings into the leg side. Will want to, should get to, will get to, as back comes Laurie Evans. So that gets it down to 3 needed now. 3 needed by Surrey. And there are, well, some tense people around the Keir Oval for the crowd. This is what they wanted.
Oh.
Something getting down to the final knockings. 3 needed off 3 balls by Surrey. Will Jacks is on strike. That's a key thing here. Will Jacks is on strike on 41. We'll have a slight delay because Laurie Evans' bootlaces have come undone. So he's doing them up. The last thing he needs to do is trip over his bootstraps. So 3 needed off 3 balls by Surrey. Ryan Stevenson coming in over the wicket to Will Jacks, swinging top edge and away for 4, and Surrey have their first win of the summer, their first win in the T20, and Will Jacks will finish 45 not out. Surrey win by 9 wickets via Duckworth-Lewis, and Surrey have a win, and Will Jacks 45 not out, top edge, flew over the keeper's head, and Surrey have a win, and Surrey get their T20 campaign up and running. Wonderful to have 2,500 spectators inside the ground. Hope they've enjoyed themselves tonight, and I feel a bit for Hampshire. Very difficult that when you start thinking you've got 17, then you only get 11, then it only goes up by 3. But Surrey doing what they needed to do. They're over the line in a game this season. They have a win by 9 wickets, and Surrey finish 81 for 1, and Will Jacks finishes on 45.
Yeah, well played, Surrey. Been a good game, actually. Quite close in the end. Hampshire sort of struggled a bit, didn't they, to their 77 for 5 off 11. Surrey seemed to be a little bit more in control. They always had just that start of 64 for the first wicket. Always gave Surrey the slight edge, and when the push came to the shove, I think they were always in a slightly better position to take advantage. But let's make no mistake, it's been a good game here this evening. But as I say, Surrey had the momentum in their innings, and in the end, that was the difference between the two sides.
Without a doubt, and I think in a small run chase like that, if you can get off to a solid start, which it wasn't spectacular, it was just solid, wasn't it, from Messrs Amla and Jacks, and that'll do Will Jacks the world of good to get a 45 not out, get his side over the line, and get Surrey's T20 camp.
Thank you very much to Mark Church, Kevin James and Kevin Howells on the commentary there, and a nice little murmur of approval from the fans that are here. Yes, because we do have 2,500 Surrey members who've watched this, and Yes, the crowd may have made a difference because Surrey have their first win. They've won by 9 wickets by DLS, chasing down 80 with 2 balls to spare. Liam Plunkett once again alongside me, and well, Will Jackson, Hashim Amla judged that almost to perfection, and in the end Laurie Evans came in and helped them, and great running between himself and Will Jackson as well, and the job finally got done. Yeah,
it was a great start. There was no big shots early on. They played some good cricket shots. Obviously they've got a good opening bowler in Afridi. Played some good cricket shots, hit a few boundaries, both got themselves in. I think Hashim would have knocked it around, played the way he plays, hit the bad ball, and I think Jaxie was going to tee off, and that's what happened when Hashim got out. Jaxie carried on, and obviously Laurie came in and they finished the job off.
Can Will now give Rory Burns a few lessons on how to play Shaheen Afridi? I mean, he seemed to have the wood on him. There was one shot in particular, we were just discussing it a couple of moments ago, where he just gave himself some ring and just punched it through, you know, over extra cover. It was a glorious shot. He absolutely smoked it.
Yeah, definitely one for the future. I bowled against Jaxie a lot in pre-season. He hits a clean ball. He definitely throws the kitchen sink at it. Yeah, I mean, he hits all around the ground. He hits the ball a clean strike, a bit like Jason Roy does. He hits a clean ball without much effort, with that hand speed. So he's definitely one to look out for the future, but hopefully he can do a great job for us the next few T20s.
He has been mentioned in dispatches in the same sentence as someone like Jason Roy, that he could be, you know, at his peak, that kind of player. But how much confidence will he get from this knock in this scenario, knowing that Surrey need a win, knowing that a lot is expected of him as well, Liam, and he's produced the goods, 45 not out, and getting Surrey home and host?
Yeah, it's a massive, isn't it, to get that going, as you said, to get the ball rolling. But as a person, if you get runs, it gives you that confidence. There's still plenty of cricket left this season to get some more scores, push some big scores and get some wins for us. But also, it'd be amazing to see how Hash speaks to him out there. I wonder if that's like a calming influence, and I'm sure it is. Make him, like, you play your game, but also plan the innings out. It's always nice to have someone that good and experienced in bat with you. And
also the balance of that particular partnership. You know, Hashim Amla, the more experienced campaigner, 16 years Will Senior, remember, and having had all of that experience, and also just, you know, managing to rotate the strike nicely. It's a really nice, you know, balance of the dynamism of the two, isn't it?
Yeah, and you need that, and I'm sure Hashim will stand back, and he'll stand away from the glory and let Will Jacks take the glory, let him hit the big shots. And Amla's such a good player, he'll pick that bad ball up and it hits the ball where he wants, and he'll dictate the strike and probably get Jaxie back on strike when he needs to. And that's what's so important, to have someone like that in the team.
Yeah, and he did play a few shots as well. There was a lovely straight drive through extra cover as well. It wasn't just nerdling around for the singles and twos, but towards the end of the innings, again crucial, the communication between Will Jackson and Laurie Evans. They pushed a couple where you could tell, again, the crowd getting involved. You could sense we're returning to a little bit more of a semblance of normality with cricket. They were there, you know, asking for the two, and they got the two, and that just helped Surrey, didn't it? Just that finish line drew ever closer, that little bit quicker.
Yeah, it's obviously fighting for every single, every two. Sometimes you come to a ground like this, you think it's a flat wicket and you think the boundaries are going to win you the game, but then ones, especially the twos in the deep pockets, they can add up and they'll help win games. I remember playing at the Riverside as a youngster and growing up. Everyone used to come and try and hit boundaries, but they were so big you had to run twos and threes, which win games for you.
And talking about the Surrey bowling effort, obviously it was a revised target of 80 in the end off the 11 overs for Surrey, with that little adjustment because of Duckworth Lewis Stern. And Hampshire made 77 for 5 off their 11 overs. And the spinners, we mentioned them before, Dan Moriarty finished with the figures of 2 for 12 off 3. He was bowled out. Excellent figures. I mean, he already is showing signs of being such a key figure for Surrey in this T20 Blast campaign, isn't he?
Yeah, with the season being completely different to the last how many years, he's stepped up to the plate. As I said, he's performed in the Bob Willis Trophy and he's took his chance here. He should be coming in pre-season next year to show, well, actually, I performed, I got wickets, I want to play in this team day in, day out. So it's obviously great to have young players doing that. And again, we talk about the relationship between Amla and Jacks and that sort of element of mentoring. We said before how Hashim Amla recently has been doing some batting consultancy in Pakistan and in South Africa, and that must have, you know, been a factor here too. But similarly, Gareth Batty and Dan Moriarty, and again, you know, one is double the other's age, so, you know, Gareth has got a lot to impart there. You know, you can see these. I always feel that teams, you see it in football, you see it in cricket, working in pairs, working in tandem, you bowl in tandem as well. That's a really important partnership, those two, isn't it? Yeah, you often think when the youngsters come into a team that they're automatically going to speak to the older player, and it often doesn't happen as much, but them two have worked hard together. I know Bats has spoke a lot to him, worked a lot individually with him in the nets, and Dan will be like a sponge, he'll take it all in, and hopefully it's paying off and he's going to get better.
And what about the pace bowlers? Topley, Overton, just a word on them?
Yeah, obviously Jamie came in at the end and bowled. It's hard, they were teeing off a little bit, so but it's nice to play his first game, get his feet wet at Surrey. Toppers outstanding up top. Obviously it would have been nice if he could bowl later on, but he was bowled out and obviously the rain came, but Toppers is always dangerous, and he's so skillful, and a lot of his skills come at the start but also at the death.
And if you didn't see it before, the catch that Rory Burns took out on the boundary to dismiss Joe Wellerley, that off the bowling of Dan Moriarty, is definitely worth another watch. I'm sure that we'll be sharing it once again on Surrey's social and digital channels. So again, I think a pretty complete performance all in all, and it's what Surrey needed, isn't it?
Yeah.
To perform in all facets of the game, and that takes us into a London derby against Middlesex, which is live on Sky Sports for viewers in the UK, part of a Kier Oval double header. Again, it's momentum. That's what we need right now, and it feels like going into a big game like that, a London derby, that's the perfect scenario now.
Yeah, it is. Big game. Obviously normally be a huge crowd in, but you're going to have to get yourself up. I'm not sure there's a crowd in the next game, so players are going to have to get themselves up for it again. Remember that feeling of winning. There's no point just coming out and winning that one game and have a complete game. You've got to back it up and back it up. And obviously that's how you win trophies and win finals.
And just a little note, a little footnote as to what else has happened during this last couple of hours or so. Hampshire may have lost the game, but they've got a new family member. Huge congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Vince, because James has become a father. His wife has given birth to a baby boy, so we wish them all the best. And yes, hopefully James will be back in action fairly soon. But in any case, in terms of Surrey, the game against Middlesex, part of the Kier Oval doubleheader, as we mentioned, it's Essex against Kent in the first game, and then Surrey against Middlesex in the second. And the next game that you can see on Surrey social and digital channels via Facebook Watch or YouTube is back here in 13 days' time as Surrey take on Sussex on the 16th of September. Liam, thank you very much indeed for being part of the stream.
Pleasure.
It's been great chatting to you, especially earlier on when we had all the rain delays. But yes, as far as Surrey are concerned, they're up and running. A win by 9 wickets against Hampshire this evening. So we hopefully we'll see you again on this Surrey stream in 13 days' time for that game against Sussex. But in the meantime, enjoy the London derby coming up this weekend. Surrey taking on Middlesex.